what? You made it here. Through the highs, the lows, the uncertainty, the small wins, and even the days that things didn't go as planned. You are still standing, and that alone is something to be grateful for. I know it may not have gone exactly how you imagined. Maybe there were goals you didn't hit, there were plans that fell through, or moments that tested your patience. But even in that, there is growth. There is strength you didn't know you had, and there are lessons quietly shaping you for what's ahead. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to see the value in every experience. The good moments, celebrate them. The tough ones, they refined you. And nothing, absolutely nothing was wasted. So today, instead of focusing on what didn't happen, shift your mind to what actually did. The doors that opened, the people who showed up for you, the breath in your lungs, the fact that you get another chance to try again. That mindset alone can change everything. And so as you step into the next month, carry that gratitude with you. Let it fuel your hope, your confidence, and your expectation for better days ahead. Because no matter what, and no matter how this month went, it did not define you. It only prepared you. You are still in the game, my friend, and there is so much more ahead of you. Good morning.
Kneel and pray that we were born with eyes to see these.
The last day of March, and just like that, the first quarter of the year comes to an end. Well, this is the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM, and I am Nichwebi Hammond. Thank you very much for choosing us this morning. No pressure this morning, just a simple check-in with yourself. 3 months in, how far, what's working, what needs to change, and because whether it was fast or slow, easy or tough, quarter one has said its part, and the rest of the year will depend on what you do with what we've planned. So as we close March today, let's stay sharp. The markets are still moving, decisions are still being taken, and the economy doesn't pause for reflection. And so that is what we're getting into all these things this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please do well to like, comment, follow, and share with your family and friends, and get them to be a part of this morning show right here on the Business Breakfast on Z 101.9 FM. It's the last day of the month and the last day of the quarter. Let's close it well, as always, for God and country.
This is Business Breakfast on Z 101.9 FM.
Something new, yeah, right, yeah.
Amponsa. Yes, of course, the comedian Opie Amponsa. Yes, I don't know how he found his way into that song anyway. But yes, he is the one that was featured on that particular song. But I think that the song is too short. Yes, Munjame is too short. So MIC, Ernest, the Ernest is a gentleman who actually leads them. And so, Ernest, find something to do about this song. It's too short. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much for choosing us this morning. Exactly 33 minutes after 6. And this is the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. We have quite a number of things coming up for you this morning. As always, we're starting with our news review segment. And right after that, at exactly 7 o'clock, we bring you the business news. And then that will be followed by the business brief segment at exactly 6:30, and then we get into what we have to do. I mean, we get into transport today with Solomon Tetenate, and then right after that, we also bring you the market trend segment with Emmanuel Boating, our in-house economic analyst, and of course, we wrap everything up with our roundtable discussion right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. Now, today on our roundtable discussion, we're talking about Ghana's 1% insurance penetration. We're asking what exactly is happening in the industry. I have a chartered insurance professional who will be joining me for the conversation this morning. And so please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay. As always, it's going to be a fantastic morning right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. We are the only station, Z101.9 FM, that serves you breakfast the business way. And so please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay right here on the show. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment and let us read your comments for you. Also, you can send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, and of course we'll read those messages for you as well. And then you can also call us on 0303956641, 0303956641. You can call us on that number when we open the phone lines, and you can be a part of the show this morning. We can tweet at us. We are on X at ZFMGH and also on Instagram at ZFMGH. Feel free to engage us on those platforms as well. Well, let's get into our news review segment this morning. Please stay tuned. Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Well, this morning there are so many stories making waves, but one just came in, and I'm breaking the news to you if you're listening to me this morning. And it's the fact that Coach Otoado has been sacked. Yes, Coach Otoado, GFA has sacked Coach Otoado, and so that is how we start this morning. Of course, in the world of sports, which is very unusual, but that is that. There are so many portals reporting it this morning. I mean, the reasons I don't know, but I'm sure it is related to the recent losses. I mean, Austria against Ghana, we lost 4-1, and yesterday we lost to Germany as well, 2-1. And so I'm sure these are some of the reasons why he's been sacked. But is it the right time? You know, those are questions we have to ask ourselves. Is this the right time for us to sack him? Is it the best time? Maybe for some people it is the best time because we are yet to go to the World Cup. But also, this is somebody that has been with the team. He knows the ins and outs of the team. Looking at having just a few months to the World Cup, why do we sack a coach around this time? You know, Those are some of the questions on the minds of people. But also, I think, was it Cameroon? One of the countries has actually, I mean, they did that. They went on to win the AFCON or so. I've forgotten exactly, but they performed very well. I think it was it Senegal? I think it was Senegal. Yes, I'm not too sure whether this AFCON, but yes, I have to get my facts right. But they were able to do that. They went through it and they were able to secure their victory. Yes. So maybe that is something possible for us as well. But I think this is a big blow to a lot of people who actually hope that things will get better. And yes, anyway, this is well, personally, I'm not very much happy about that situation. But let's hear your thoughts as well. Send us your WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. Send us a WhatsApp. Let us know what you also think. Join our news review segment this morning right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. Yes, but that's the sad news coming in. I don't know. Some people are very excited because they've been calling for his head for God knows how long. I mean, but why did the GFA wait till now, to do that? Yes, I'm not happy somebody's losing their job, but of course, I mean, once you lead people like that, leadership for like a team is not an easy thing. It's not an easy task, But sacking him at this point, especially just after yesterday, just after a defeat yesterday, you just wake up and then, indeed, a lot can happen in a day and a lot can happen in the night. So just yesterday, a decision has been made concerning him. Is it that DFA had already planned to sack him after this match, or it was just based on yesterday's defeat, or maybe that was a lifeline they gave him that if you don't win this match, you're losing your contract or whatever. But I think that this is something very, very heartbreaking for some of us who actually believe in the work that he can do. Yes, if giving some more room to operate. I mean, it's alleged that there are people that are actually influencing some of the decisions and that he takes and all of that. And because of that, he doesn't have the clear frame of mind and the focus to be able to make the decisions that will shift the football of this country. I mean, the Black Stars of this country to the next level. But that's a sad one coming there. Yes. For me personally, I'm not happy about that decision at all. I think GFA must explain and let us understand exactly what happened. But anyway, let's move on to let's start, of course, with the new finder now. Now, on the front page of the new finder, government targets 15.23 billion borrowing, and also that is via T-bills and bonds. Also, oil surges above 115 as Iran war depends global energy shock, and that story is on page 9 of the paper. Now, NADBO confirms all victims trapped under Newtown collapsed building recovered, and the story is on page 5 of the New Finder newspaper. Now, single-digit interest rates key to Ghana's industrial growth, and that story is on page 2 of the paper as well. Now, investor expectations drive selective demand in the T-bill market, and let's look at other ones in there. Now, mentorship and collaboration key to unlocking creative potential. And this one says that Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana call for probe into Accra Newtown building collapse, and Green Growth Project advances green skills training in Tamale. Also, wellness advocate urges Ghanaians to prioritize gut health. And this one says Accra Mayor demands answers over Newtown building collapse. Also, NADMO confirms. Okay, I already read that one. This one says that build climate costs into governance. EPA urges government. And Asanko Gold signs $400 million Rabotech deal to boost local jobs. Also, Rams Logistics refunds 19.1 million Ghana cedis after Auditor General findings. Also, ENP secures union backing as Damine Mine take over nearest critical stage. Also, this one says Agoyo reclaims its position as country's #1 distributor, and Ghana secures gains for food security, industry, and trade at WTO talks. That comes with a picture of the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjari. Also, this one says that NIB returns to profitability with 343.9 million Ghana cedis gain in 2025. Now, government targets 15.23 billion Ghana cedis borrowing via T-bills and bonds. And also, prolonged Middle East conflict poses significant risk to Ghana's economy. Fidelity Bank supports University of Ghana's One Student, One Laptop initiative. Also, these ones, WTO talks in Yaoundé collapse over e-commerce duties, and also Ghana's former president to lead ECOWAS election mission. AU commends Congo on a successful election. Now let's look at some of the newspapers that I have this morning. On the Chronicle, the front page of the Chronicle says that Afoko meet other NPP aspirants, and that story is on page 3 and 12 of the paper. And this one says that Heath Goldfields has brought renewed hope to Prestia Bogoso Group, and that is coming from a group. There also, police gunned down suspected armed robber on Atebubu Ejura Highway, and Takwa Court remands 2 students over supermarket break-in and theft. Also, 24 suspects arrested in Bono during security agencies' operation. Those are some of the stories in the Chronicle. Some more stories here. This one says that Galamsey poisons Ghana's food chain, and that is actually from a study that has been done by Mensa et al., as reported by the Pan-African platform. Yes. All right. This one says that participants urge expansion of WASIC safety training, and also this one says that Minister for Foreign Affairs Tuga resigns, and 48 hours curfew imposed after attack on bar in Jos. Also, Akufo-Addo urges completion of stalled Agenda 111 hospitals to improve health care. Parliament calls for probe after Accra New Town building collapse. And so those are some of the stories there this morning. Also, there are some entertainment stories you may want to look at them. Russian oil tanker reaches Cuba after Trump appears to loosen blockade, and Russia expels British diplomats over spying allegations, and Spain closes airspace to U.S. aircraft involved in Iran war, and thieves steal paintings in 3-minute Italian haste. And so those are some of the stories making waves in the Chronicle newspaper. Now on the front page of the Daily Graphic, under invoicing rocks raw rubber exports, and that is a story there on page 3. Now this one also says that GCB Bank profit before tax hits 3.17 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. Now Galamsey fights lethargic now, and that is actually coming from the Galamsey coalition as they appeal to the president, John Dramani Mahama. Stories on page 40 of the Daily Graphic. Also, Akosombo and Jakiti Kudikope road project ahead of schedule, and that is from the contractor. And also, Rance Logistics refunds 19.1 million Ghana cedis after audit, and Deputy Finance Minister tells the Public Accounts Committee. Also, Supreme Court at 1:50 today, a milestone worth remembering, and that's from the Chalmers of, this from CJ Chalmers to CJ Bafo Boni. Also, this one says under invoicing. Okay, already read this one. Some more stories here. RIUC inaugurates governing council in their bid to deepen governance and strengthen accountability. Also, 7-member governing board inaugurated to drive AI and data science agenda. 48-hour curfew imposed after attack on bar in Nigerian city. Also, Somali National Army takes control of Baidoa. Also, this one says that no abolished taxes in Ghana. Now, EU energy ministers seek to coordinate Iran war response, and Mexican immigrants dies in U.S. immigration custody. Some more stories here. Reparative justice for the slave trade. Also, this one says that let me look at some more stories here in the Daily Graphic. More than 2,000 bipolar cases reported in 3 regions. Also, this one says that Cargill Cares supports Mampon demonstration school for the deaf with clinic upgrade and Easter outreach. Akosombo Jakiti, okay, I read this one already. Peace Corps Volunteer mobilizes funds to build maternity ward for community, and businessman urges graduates to create opportunities and not wait for jobs. Comes with a picture of Dr. Ernest Oforisapon, who's the chairman of the special group of companies delivering an address there. All right. Also, Dagon delegation calls on education minister. Yes, and also Accra and Temafla to raise red flags. Also, state funding, ending corruption and unclear campaign funding. State funding of parties urgent. Also, this one says that ensure full DACF allocation to NYE and the YEA. Also, liaise with diaspora constituents to develop assemblies. NCCE chair says that former President Akufo-Addo installed lay cannon. So these are some of the stories in the Daily Graphic this morning. Let's look at the Daily Guide. On the front page, complete Agenda 111 project, Nanatu Mahama. Also, NAM1 to testify virtually, and that is on page 6 of the paper. MMDC's drill balls at 100,000 Ghana cedis each, MP reveals, and that is coming from coming with a picture of Vincent Kwasifwa. Also, Bogoso community backs Heath Goldfields, and 3 confirmed there, 20 rescued. Newtown building collapse. And so, yes, those are some of the stories there. Also, this one says that arms trafficking and narco terrorism, Moroccan security services at the heart of a vast international framework. Now, after slavery recognition, Africa must break economic chains for real freedom. And also, Air Canada CEO to retire after English-only condolence furor. Also, another story here. This one says that Bogoso community. Okay, I already read this one. Some other ones. Integrated financial systems key to Africa's growth, and that is coming from the Bank of Ghana governor. Also, MTN Clinic equips SMEs for growth, and also Eco Glass launch boosts local manufacturing growth. Also, 20 million film fund. 20 million Ghana cedis film fund to focus on capacity building, and that is coming from James Gardiner. And Gabi Ochidako revealed as the writer of Stone Boys Believe in Africa. Also, this one says that Wager Agbawi Hospital gets new emergency block, and Accru from SHTS to get 4-story story boys dormitory, 3 killed in Heman crash. And so these are some of the stories there. These are some of the stories there in the Daily Guide. And maybe finally in the newspapers, let's look at the Ghanaian Times. Now, on the front page, it says that Rand's Logistics refunds 19.1 million Ghana cedis to state, yet to account for 7,000 tons of rice. Also, Ecoglass targets 24-hour economic policy for growth as it begins operations. And that story is on page 14. GCB Bank posts a record 3.17 billion Ghana cedis profit for 2025. Also, Vice President visits survivors of Accra Newtown building collapse. Also, 5 killed in Nkwanta clash as police deploy armored security. And OT Regional Police Commander engages Nkwanta on peace and security. Also, police probe 400,000 Ghana cedis Momo withdrawal linked to gold robbery. Also, gunmen kills 30 in Nigeria's Plateau State attack. Also, China resumes direct flights to North Korea after 6 years. Congo launches disarmament push against Rwanda genocide-linked militia. And also, this one says that traditional African religion, the true version of religious tolerance, diversity, and peace. I think that's a feature there. Also, National Theatre solicits input into its 4-year strategic plan. A non-profit organization to hold 4-day photo exhibition in Keta. Also, MIIF engages editors to deepen understanding of amended Act, posts record 5.43 billion Ghana cedis royalty inflow, and 95% of Ghana's international communications at risk as damage to submarine cables increases, and Ghana to experience extreme heat conditions in the coming years, and that is coming from GMET. Also, Prison Service launches MEB initiative. So those are some of the stories there. Let's look at the online portals. On myjoyonline.com, top story here says that Otto Addo sacked. And also, fuel shock looms as petrol nears 15 cedis, 19 pesos. Diesel 17 cedi, 85 pesos from April 1. Now, this one says that too watery and too risky. Why Ghanaian traders prefer Burkina tomatoes? And also, we are tomato sufficient. Agribusiness chief pushes back on Burkina Faso export shock. Also, government will introduce amendments to Procurement Act to limit sole sourcing. And that is coming from the President, John Dramani Mahama. Also, Council of State member demands Iyoko boss apologize or face lawsuit and petitions Mahama for his dismissal. Also, not our jurisdiction. Mahama breaks silence on Oforiatta case. Also, we are focused on basic needs, not LGBTQ bill. President Mahama says that Middle East tensions, Ghana's current energy resilience thanks to increased domestic gas production, also coming from President Mahama. Now, Nigeria's giant oil refinery fails to prevent record gasoline prices. And also, let's move on to some other portals. On citynewsroom.com, GFA sacks Otoado, and also hot AI system deployment at Ghana ports. And that is coming from ABOA to GRA. Ghana's credit outlook at risk if reforms lose momentum, and that's coming from SNP. And apologize or face legal action. Council of State member Kwame Ga Atupli to Iyoko. Also, Ghana not 100% ready for World Cup, and that is coming from the sports minister. He also says that progress made, but Ghanaian sports need more support. Also, evidence destroyed. GHIE slams NADMO over Newtown rubble clearance. Also, Oforiatta's extradition, we must wait for American judiciary to decide. President John Dramani Mahama says that. He also says that anti-LGBTQ bill not priority, but will be handled democratically. Also, government to amend Public Procurement Act to limit sole sourcing. And I think that's also from President John Dramani Mahama. Let's look at channel1newsonline.com. Top story here says GFA sacks Otoado after Austria and German losses. Also enforce post-permit supervision IET Ghana to MMDAs. Also, Kofi Adams pushes recreation and school sports reforms to boost national performance. Also, you are our partners in governance, Mahama tells CSOs. Also, Ghana's free primary health care program to launch on April 15. Mahama orders full probe of big push contract claims. Also, publican AI choking trade at ports and driving up costs, and that is coming from freight forwarders. Also, the NRSE and MTTD to drivers obey speed limits. Also, Asokwa interchange students restore vandalized murals. Also, Akufo-Addo urges completion of stalled Agenda 111 hospitals, and engineers flout laws and expect God to hold buildings. And that is coming from Engineer Mahama. Now, a new town building collapse. NADMO confirms that all victims have been recovered. Now, let's move on to bnftonline.com. Now, here, this one says that all major indicators improving in tandem, not accidental, and that is coming from the governor of the Bank of Ghana. Also, government withdraws hardline on debt with new loans law. Also, Eco Glass enters market with quality of and affordable glass solutions. Agriculture needs structured system. Agriculture needs structured system to boost output, and that's coming from Dr. Akwe. Also, Academic Cities Tech Expo showcases innovative technologies to tackle galamsey. On the High Street Journal this morning, here it says that strong reserves and cheaper credits are Ghana's industrial game changer, and that's coming from the Bank of Ghana governor. Also, oil marketers intensify competition as diesel prices leads gains, and government pushes to unlock capital for women entrepreneurs. Also, broken records and broken trust, documentation failures, and informal fees expose costly inefficiencies in Ghana's public service delivery. Also, this one says CD's 40% surge, how market forces and not direct fixing drove Ghana's currency recovery. Also, FSC approves framework for gradual stock market listing of banks. And also, gold swings near $4,500 as war inflation fears and policy shift drive volatility. This one also says that oil surges above 115 US dollars as Iran war deepens global energy shock, and high subscription and lower rates expected as government returns to the bond market. Okay, I think that story is from yesterday. And so those are some of the stories this morning. Let's look at the international front. On BBC, Netanyahu says military aims in Iran beyond halfway complete as Kuwaiti oil tanker hit in Dubai. Also, Palestinian convicted of deadly attacks face death penalty under new Israeli law. And I knew something wasn't right. Wrong sperm given to families by IVF clinics in northern Cyprus. Also, shock, sadness, and relief in town at center of Australia's 7-month manhunt. Celine Dion announces comeback shows. I am so ready for this. And also, Gazan mother reunited with evacuated daughter after 2 years. Now, 2 Indonesian UN peacekeepers killed in an explosion in Lebanon. Also, King Charles should meet Epstein victims, US lawmaker says that. And also, social media firms must better enforce Australia under 16 ban. And that is from a watchdog. On BBC Africa, Nigerian president's rivals get major boost as political heavyweight joins fold, and also 3 killed as unfinished building collapse on church service in Ghana, and one ant for $220, the new frontier of wildlife trafficking. Also, the grievous crime against humanity. What does a UN vote on slavery mean? And so these are some of the stories there. 48-hour curfew imposed after attack on bar in Nigerian city. And also, this is bigger than football. DR Congo bid to end 52-year World Cup wait. On CNN, Iran strikes Kuwaiti tanker full of oil off Dubai, and the Saudis found an escape hatch for some of the world's oil. Also, this one says that Trump helped build the Middle East AI ambitions. And then maybe finally on Reuters, giant oil tanker off Dubai hit by Iranian strike after Trump's latest threats. And also, thousands of U.S. Army paratroopers arrive in Middle East as build-up intensifies. Also, Spain closes airspace to U.S. planes involved in Iran, and also fearing economic collapse after war, Iran cracks down on dissent. 3 UN peacekeepers killed in Lebanon as Israeli strikes Pamel South. And so those are some of the stories making waves this morning. That will be all for our news review segment right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. Please keep listening to the show. Don't go anywhere. Up next is business news.
It's not time for business news. Coming up in the headlines, Minerals Income Investment Fund targets higher returns in 2026 after record 2025 performance. Also coming up, Ghana and Burkina Faso pledge stronger trade ties despite tomato ban. And government aims to raise 15.23 billion Ghana cedis from domestic markets. We have details of these stories and many others coming to you shortly. Do stay with us. I am Mami Ifwa Kwejua. And now the details of the stories. So our first story, the Minerals Income Investment Fund, MIF, is projecting stronger investment returns for 2026 following a record performance in 2025. Chief Executive Officer Mrs. Justina Nelson says the fund is building on mineral royalty inflows that rose sharply to 5.43 billion cedis last year, up from 3.91 billion cedis in 2024. She explains that the growth is driven by improved monitoring of manganese and quarry operations, areas previously under-recovered. MEF says its 2026 to 2028 strategic plan will deepen investments and diversify assets while strengthening transparency. The fund is also leveraging its legal framework to plug revenue leakages and boost national earnings. Officials believe higher returns will support infrastructure development and reduce reliance on external borrowing. Moving on, Ghana and Burkina Faso have pledged to strengthen trade ties despite the suspension of tomato exports. Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofusua-Jari, raised the issue during talks with the Burkina Faso ambassador at the World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference in Yaoundé. She described the suspension as a major concern, noting that Ghana imports up to 80% of its tomato from Burkina Faso, worth about $400 million annually. The minister warns that the disruptions could push up prices, affect agro-processing businesses, and strain household budgets. Analysts say the shortage highlights Ghana's heavy reliance on imports and the urgent need to boost local production. Burkina Faso also explains that the suspension is part of a policy to support new tomato processing factories by keeping raw materials at home. Away from that, government is targeting 15.23 billion from the domestic market between March and June 2026 to help finance the national budget and settle maturing debts. According to a notice from the Bank of Ghana, the funds will be raised through a mix of short-term treasury bills and medium-term to long-term bonds. Officials say the plan is in line with the financing targets set out in the 2026 budget statement. Weekly auctions of 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day treasury bills will continue. But government says it wants to rely less on short-term borrowing and increase the use of longer-term bonds as part of its debt management strategy. The Bank of Ghana explains that the bond issuance will resume once restrictions from the domestic debt exchange program expire, with settlement expected within 2 working days. Authorities also plan to reopen existing instruments to boost liquidity in the secondary markets and strengthen benchmark yield curves. The state-owned National Investment Bank PLC has posted a remarkable turnaround, reporting a profit after tax of 343.9 million Ghana cedis for 2025, up from 2.8 million Ghana cedis in 2024. The result from the bank's first audited account in over a decade mark a milestone in restoring transparency and confidence. The rebound was driven by strong revenue growth, with operating income rising 134% to 885.5 million Ghana cedis and net interest income more than tripling to 633.1 million Ghana cedis. Non-interest income, including trading gains, also contributed. At the operating level, the bank reversed a loss of 5.6 million Ghana cedis to post 275.4 million Ghana cedis in profit, with pre-tax earnings reaching 382.1 million Ghana cedis. Income from associates climbed to 106.7 million Ghana cedis, and operational efficiency improved with a cost-to-income ratio falling to 64%. The balance sheet expanded with total liabilities rising to 10.5 billion Ghana cedis, equity turning positive at 1.55 billion Ghana cedis, and a capital adequacy ratio of 54.5%. Lending increased with impairment charges at 46.9 million Ghana cedis. NIB's recovery, overseen by Managing Director Doliwura Zakaria and his team, reflects renewed operational discipline, strengthened governance, and a strategy to rebuild core business. Management says it will sustain momentum by strengthening operations, tightening risk management, and leveraging strategic investment. The 2025 results signal not just profitability, but restored credibility and a renewed positioning for NIB in Ghana's banking sector. Still in the banking sector, Omni Basic Bank Ghana Limited has posted a strong performance for 2025, with profit before tax soaring by 104% to 641 million Ghana cedis. Total assets more than doubled to 21.58 billion Ghana cedis, while customer deposits rose to 16.54 billion Ghana cedis, reflecting the bank's growing market share and strong client confidence. The bank's managing director, Daniel Esiedu, indicated that The surge in profits and trading gains also enabled the bank to scale up credit to the private sector and to invest in growth at a time when the economy was showing strong indications of stability. A closer look at Omni Basic Bank's result further showed strong growth momentum. Interest income nearly doubled to 2.46 billion Ghana cedis, while net interest income jumped to 1.17 billion Ghana cedis from 545.8 million Ghana cedis. The surge in net income showed stronger pricing and a bigger, more productive balance sheet. Fees and trading lines also turned in impressive results, with net fees rising to 109.1 million Ghana cedis and trading income hitting 143.4 million Ghana cedis. These ultimately doubled the bank's operating income to 1.43 billion from 746.1 million Ghana cedis in 2024. Gold PLC has regained its position as Ghana's leading oil marketing company in the downstream petroleum sector. The achievement follows strategic restructuring and improved operational efficiency under Group Chief Executive Officer Edward Bauer. The company's strong financial performance in 2025 and rising market share into 2026 have boosted investor confidence, reflected in a sharp increase in its share price on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Guel has expanded its network to over 447 stations and upgraded infrastructure nationwide. The company is also advancing digital systems, reducing debt, and investing in cleaner energy solutions, including electric vehicle charging and expanded LPG distribution capacity. Now, to our last story, Ghana's private sector is preparing for a major shift in regulatory oversight as the government moves to replace fragmented sectorial rules with a unified competition framework. At a technical seminar organized by the Competitions and Market Centers in Accra, legal experts and regulators outlined the draft competition policy and bill, which will centralize market regulation under a single authority. The new framework is expected to streamline measure approvals, clarify anti-competitive practices, and reduce the compliance burden on companies operating across multiple sectors. Observers say this move will enhance product, support innovation, and align domestic law with constitutional trade standards under the African Continental Free Trade Area. And this is where we end the business news. But before I go, let's take a recap of our stories. Minerals Income Investment Fund targets higher returns in 2026 after record 2025 performance. Also, Ghana and Burkina Faso pledge stronger trade ties despite tomato ban, and government aims to raise 15.23 billion Ghana cedis from domestic market. We came your way with details of these stories and many others from our studio here at number 6 Anyete Avenue, East Legon, Accra. For more news, you can log on to www.zedmultimedia.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X at ZFMGH, and on TikTok and YouTube at Z Multimedia. Thank you for listening. Once again, I am Mami Ifwa Kwejwa. Nitrebi continues with the BBC to stay.
that's a very powerful tune by Higher Praise Incorporated. Yes, and they call this one a prayer medley. And very powerful songs in there that has been put together. And I think sung by our very good brother who passed, Ajola. May his soul rest in peace wherever he is now. I pray that he'll continue to rest in the bosom of Abraham somewhere in heaven. All right. Anyway, so we're going to get into our business brief segment right away. I'm sharing something briefly with you ahead of our roundtable discussion. Please stay tuned. Also start with a simple question to you. Now, if something goes wrong today, seriously wrong, are you protected? If something just suddenly goes wrong, are you protected? No, I mean, not in theory, not in God will provide, quote and unquote, or my family will help, not that one. I mean, financially protected. If there's fire, there's an accident, there's a sudden illness, or maybe a business collapse overnight, will you survive it? Or will you start again from zero? And that's a question for you. Now, before you answer too quickly, let me give you one number that should make all of us pause. Now, in Ghana today, insurance penetration is around just 1%. 1%. That means that every 100 Ghanaians, out of every 100 Ghanaians, about 99 are living, working, hustling, building businesses without any formal financial protection against risk. What did I say? I'm saying that means that every 100 Ghanaians that you get or you put together, about 99 of them are doing things. They are working, they are living, they are hustling, they are building business, they are doing all kinds of things without any formal financial protection against risk. And here's what makes it even more interesting. This is not because the industry doesn't exist. The insurance industry doesn't exist. In fact, Ghana has over 50 licensed insurers and reinsurers under the supervision of the National Insurance Commission. Products are available from motor insurance to life insurance to health-linked insurance policies, even agricultural insurance. And so on paper, the system is there. But in reality, for the average Ghanaian, insurance is almost invisible. It exists, but it is not felt. Now, let me bring this home with a story of a woman called Akosua. Akosua is 34 years old. She's a tomato trader at Agbobloshi Market. Now, every single day, she moves goods worth thousands of cedis. And her business feeds her children, supports her extended family, keeps her household running and all of that. And so Akosua is not lazy. She's not careless. She's not uninformed about life. She's doing everything right by the standards of hustle, But here's a reality. Akosua has no insurance. Not for her goods, not for her health, not for her life. And when you ask her why, her answers are not strange. In fact, they are very familiar. She says that insurance companies don't pay. She says that no one has ever explained it to me properly. She says that paying every month, my income is not even stable like that. And maybe the most honest one is that it feels like luxury and not necessity. Then one day, a fire outbreak affects parts of the market. Stock is lost, income disappears overnight, and there is no safety net, no fallback, no structured support. What does she do? She tends to family, she borrows from friends, and she takes informal loans, often at high cost. And just like that, one event pushes her deeper into financial vulnerability. Now, here's the thing. Akosia is not the exception. She's the majority because Ghana's economy is largely informal. In fact, estimates suggest that over 80% of the workforce operates in the informal sector, which means that millions of people are exposed to risk every single day without protection. And this is where the real question begins. Why? Why is insurance still at 1%? Why is there such a massive gap between availability and adoption? Why do we have an industry that looks active but feels absent? Because when you look closely, the issue is not just one thing. It is a combination. We can talk about trust, we can talk about access, understanding, experience, and all of that. So there are many things that come in there. And of course, when we get into our roundtable discussion, we try to break all of them down right here on the show. There are so many things. So many things. When you put all of them together, you begin to see the full picture. A market with capacity but low uptake. An industry with products but limited penetration. And a country that is full of risk. When you see, I don't know whether you observe some of the risks, the risks in this country. So many in our markets, on our roads, like everywhere is risky. If you're surviving here in this country, I always say that it is not by your strength, it is by God's grace. There are things that are happening in this country that sometimes you don't even understand. Traffic lights not working, people just driving through, and near accidents misses. People are crossing the road anyhow. Fire outbreaks can come at any time. Like so many risks in this country. So many of them. But very little protection. And yet, this is where it gets interesting, because what looks like a problem is also a massive opportunity. A 1% penetration rate does not only mean failure, it means 99% untapped potential. Think about that. With increasing mobile phone usage, digital financial services expanding, regulatory reforms happening, and all of that, I believe strongly that there is space for innovation. There is space for new models. There is space to rethink how insurance is delivered, explained, and experienced. But the question is that, can the industry close a gap? Can it move from being seen as distant to being seen as essential? Can it build trust in a market that has learned to survive without it? And more importantly, can insurance become a real tool for financial inclusion and economic resilience in this country? Because at its core, insurance is not about policies and premiums. It is about peace of mind. It is about continuity. It is about protecting the progress people have worked so hard to build. And so this morning, we are not just discussing numbers. We are actually discussing lives. We are discussing businesses, families, futures. And what of you? Our roundtable topic today is Ghana's 1% insurance penetration. What is holding the industry back? And joining us is a chartered insurance professional who understands both the technical side and the real-life challenges on the ground. And we'll be exploring the barriers, the perceptions, the realities, and the opportunities that lie ahead. Now, if you've ever wondered whether insurance is really worth it, if you've ever doubted whether claims are paid, if you've ever felt like it's not for people like you, then I believe strongly that this conversation is for you. So we'll be talking about that very, very soon. I want you to stay with us because the next few minutes might just change the way you think about risk and protection. And we're going to have that conversation right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. You are free to actually engage me on our social media platforms, and I would love to hear from you. Send me a WhatsApp on 0544 321019, 0544 321019, or you can call me when I open the phone lines on 030 3956641, 030 3956641, and then I will give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment on those streams and also share the link with your family and friends, and I'll really be grateful for that. And so that will be all for our business brief segment. Please don't go anywhere. We're going to get into our transport today and market trend segments, and once we are done, we're going to move straight into our roundtable discussion. It's a very important conversation. It's about your life, it's about your business, it's about your future, it's about your children, it's about your car, it's about your house and your entire family, everything that revolves around you. Insurance is a very important conversation to have. And I think you need to stick and stay and listen to that conversation. In fact, join that conversation. And so please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay. That will be all for our business brief. Up next is Transport Today with Solomon Tete Nate. Stay tuned.
Money.
How are you doing?
Yeah, by the grace of God. I'm
Right.
doing very well.
We
What about
thank
you?
God. Yeah, I'm well too by God's grace.
We are good.
Yes, it's a great blessing to be alive
I
and
know,
to,
right?
to be back this morning.
Mm.
All right. Yes, tell us what you have for us today.
All right. So today is actually fully packed. I have a lot to share with you.
Wow, sure.
I will take you through the local flight schedules as usual,
Mm.
and also look at the traffic situation in town.
Okay.
And also, I want us to look at the Road Traffic Act.
Okay.
And that's the Act, on 683.
Act 683.
683.
Okay.
And there was some amendment, and
Right.
actually the Parliament passed it December
Mm.
2025.
Okay.
And we actually focused on the legalization of Okada
And
and
those
all
things.
that. But
yeah.
I want us to also look at the child safety
Mm.
aspect of it, because there were some amendments that they made at that aspect.
Right.
So today I'll be taking you through the act
Definitely.
and some of the amendment that they made in that
Very important.
act.
Right.
And that's the Road Safety
Mm.
Road Traffic Act
Okay.
683.
All right.
So these are some of the things that I have for you this morning.
Sure.
But let's start with the flight schedules,
Mm.
and I'm starting with Passion Air. Accra to Kumasi, Passion Air, Accra to Kumasi. Morning flight 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. And then afternoon flight 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m., 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. And then the evening flight is at 7:20 p.m. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now Accra to Takrade, Passion Air, morning flight 6:20 a.m. and then afternoon flight 4:20 p.m. morning flight 6:20 a.m. and then afternoon flight 4:20 p.m. and it takes 50 minutes to get to your destination. Now Accra to Sunyani, Passion Air has only one flight available for the day at 9:10 a.m. 9:10 a.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. Accra to Wa, Passion Air has no flight available for the day, and so you should take note of that. Now Accra to Tamale, Passion Air, morning flight 6 a.m. and then afternoon flights 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. and it takes 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination. So that's for Passion Air. Now let's look at Africa World Airlines, how their schedule also looks like today. So Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi morning flight 6:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m. and 9 a.m. and then afternoon flight 2:10 p.m. and 3:10 p.m. and then the evening flight is at 7:40 p.m. Morning flight 6:20 a.m., 8:40 a.m. and 9 a.m. Afternoon flight 2:10 p.m. and 3:10 p.m. and then evening flight is at 7:40 p.m. for Accra to Kumasi, Africa World Airlines. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. So Accra to Takrade, Africa World Airlines morning flight is at 6:40 a.m. and then afternoon flights, so morning flight 6:40 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. and then afternoon flights is at 4:30 p.m. and that's for Accra to Takrade, Africa World Airlines, and it takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now Accra to Tamale, Africa World Airlines Accra to Tamale morning flights is at 6:30 a.m. and then afternoon flights are 1:40 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. Morning flight 6:30 a.m. and then afternoon flights are 1:40 p.m. and 4:40 p.m. and that's for Accra to Tamale Africa World Airlines. So these are the flight schedules for today. Now let's look at the traffic situation in town, and today I'm coming to you from Wija. Currently there's massive traffic on the Kasua Road. If you are from West Osmo, heading towards Malam Junction, massive traffic on the stretch, so you should take note of that. And the traffic actually starts from Wija Junction, past the Men's Chrome Hotel, all the way to Malam Junction, so you should take note of that if you are using that route at the moment. And also coming to Awushi, there's traffic at where the DVLA approved testing center is located, so you should also take note of that at Awushi, right from Ashfoam Depot to the DVLA approved testing center. There's massive traffic on the stretch at the moment. And also Awushi Road is very busy at the moment at where Victory Bible Church headquarters is located, so you should also take note of that if you are using the route at the moment. Now coming to Kwashiman, there's traffic at Kwashiman where the KFC is located, massive traffic around that area. And also if you're heading towards Santa Maria Blue Kiosk, you're also going to experience traffic right from Kwashiman to Santa Maria, so you should also take note of that if you are using that route at the moment. So that's the traffic update for you today. Now let's look at the traffic update at La Paz, where the Las Palmas restaurant is located. There's traffic, massive traffic spotted around that area, you should also take note of. So that will be all for the traffic update. Now back to the conversation, or the issue I mentioned earlier about the Amendment Act of the Road Traffic Act 683. And you know, when you take the Road Traffic Act, the section 13, 14 and 15 is actually talking about child safety, and also the regulation 119 of the road regulation LI 2180 is also talking about child safety. So there has been an amendment. The government actually started this review last year, and they also involved some stakeholders, and one of the stakeholders, that is Lada Institute, actually advocated for child safety, and also made some recommendations for the amendment about some things that they want us to change from the law. And so I'm going to touch on some of the things that were in the law and now the changes that has come. So the gaps that the institute spotted, or actually mentioned in the law, is that there is no mandatory use of child safety restraint in the law, and that's the Road Traffic Act 683. And also they mentioned that the if a child is under 5 years, he's not actually allowed to sit in front seat. And so they also advocated that that is not actually an international standard. So they recommended that there should be some changes to that. And also they also said that there's no they didn't factor any height and weight in terms of child restraint, and so they should also factor that. And also advocated for blood alcohol content. Previously in the law, the blood alcohol content is 0.08, and they think that is not actually meeting, or is not a global standard, and so there should be some change to that. So these are some of the things that they propose to government for the amendment. And so I'm going to take you through the new some of the new things that have come on board in the Road Traffic Act 683. So now the child restraint system is mandatory for children aged 12 and below. So previously it was 5, and now it has been raised to 12, and that's the global standard. According to WHO, it's supposed to be 12.
Which of the things?
The child restraint system.
Child restraint system.
Yes.
What is that?
So child restraint system is actually, the seat that they fix for children in the car, so that they don't actually use the seat belt, because
Okay.
according to them, the seat belt can even cause fraction to the human body, because
Okay.
they have not actually developed hard bone. So if you have the child restraint system, and there's
Right.
yeah, exactly. So if you have the child restraint system, then it's going to help you to it's going to help the child in terms of crash
Okay.
instead of the seat belt, because it doesn't help
So
children.
that's it that they put in the
Exactly.
in the
in
car
the,
seat.
in the car on the
On
car
the
seat.
car seat, right? Yes.
Yeah,
in
so
the- yes.
that's the child restraint system. And so
right.
now children from 12 and below are supposed to be in child restraint system.
Okay. So it used to be 0 to 5.
0 to 5, but
Okay.
now 0 to 12.
Oh, okay.
And
so
that's
even
a
your
global-
11-year-old child, your
Yes,
12-year-old
supposed
child,
to be in the child
in the
restraint
child.
system.
I kind of most people don't
And-
follow
and
that.
So
They
that's
don't do-
why now they've made that provision, so that
Mm.
we can also look into that. People don't actually
Follow
use
it.
follow the law, but now they want to do the advocacy and
Okay.
also try to push it so that people will adhere to this law. So now it's going to be 0 to 12 instead
Okay.
of 0 to 5.
Because sometimes I see school, these drivers like taxis and things who go to pick students from school, like children from school. Sometimes I can see that they've packed their children at the back
Yeah,
seats, like
yeah,
plenty. And some
yeah,
of them are
exactly.
standing and looking
Exactly.
outside and all of these are
Exactly.
all
These are all some
concerns.
exactly.
These are all concerns.
Exactly. So now it's mandatory, and
Mm.
they also mentioned that they are going to speak to schools,
Okay.
so that they also make sure that they fix these things in their cars. Yeah, their
I
school
see.
buses and all that.
I look
But-
forward to seeing how
Yeah,
it will
yeah,
play out.
yeah. So that's what we. And also now, the child restraint system must meet international approved safety standards. And as I said, now the standardization is actually working because of the amendment that they've made
Okay.
in the law.
Right.
And now the law also clarifies the conflict between section 14 of the Act 683 and regulation 1195 of the LI 2180. And now I'm going to explain that to you. So when you take the Act 683, the old law, the section 14 states that children who are not who are below 5 are supposed to be in the child restraint system,
Okay.
and not be in front of the in front seat
Okay, in
of the
front,
car.
yeah.
But the section 15 now contradicts and says that if a child is in a child restraint system, he can be in the front
In the
seat.
front seat. Okay.
So now it clarifies. So
Okay.
that's one of the amendment that
right.
they've also done.
Right.
That now the section 15 doesn't conflict with section 14. It also
Okay.
doesn't conflict with the regulation 119 of the LI 2180. So that's some of the amendment that they've done. And also now the new law clearly assigns enforcement rules to NRSA, DVLA, MTTD, and GSA. So in the old law, it actually generalized it, and it says that the sector minister has to look at the approval of the child restraint system. But now the new law emphasize and also specify that GSA is supposed to look at the quality and also look at if it meets the global standard.
GSA. as in
GSA, Ghana Standard Authority.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So that's also one of the amendment that they've made in the law. So these are some of the things that the new law, and that's the Road Traffic Act 683 actually emphasize on with the amendment.
Because
of-
I know that the first one, what was amended was passed in 2004.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so this
yeah.
one is 2025.
2025.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. So these are some of the things that I want us to look at this morning. And now the new law also introduces check of tail emissions. So now when
What
you
is
buy
that?
a car, the GSA has to check the carbon emission that your
Okay.
car is going to
Right.
produce. Now we are in a
Climate change era and all of these things.
So the new law also tries to emphasize on that.
So who is doing the checking?
So GSA is going to do the
do that,
checking.
but-
So
okay.
before you get your road worthy and all that, they have to check.
Check it before, so
before,
that make sure that you're
exactly.
not emitting too much
Exactly,
carbon
exactly.
into there.
So these
Atmosphere.
are some of the things. But I want us to look at the graph so that we appreciate some of these amendments
Okay.
that has come on board. So I don't know. So when you look at the graph, it's talking about fatalities by age categories from 2019 to 2022.
Okay.
And looking at 2019, you can see that children age 7 to 9 actually had the highest, road crash. All right, or had accident in terms of when we talk about fatalities. I mean, so 2.6% fatalities were recorded for children from 7 to 9. But my focus is on the 2021. Now, when you look at 2021, children from 0 to 3 had the highest fatality. And these are children that they can't even walk on the pedestrian walkway. So you could see that clearly these are children that are in the car.
Yeah, that's true.
So it means that these are children that are in the car, and one maybe had no child restraint system. And this is causing a lot of harm. So I think we should appreciate the new amendment and also obey the law by fixing this child restraint system in our cars, so that our children can be protected. We always say that children are our future,
Yeah.
So it's very important.
So has the Enforcement Act been passed?
So the Enforcement Act is yet to be passed because they are waiting for
bill.
The bill, and that's the regulation 119
Okay.
of the LI 2180. So they are waiting for the Parliament to sit and then pass the Enforcement Act, and now we can take it from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Then we can actually enforce it.
Exactly.
I hope that people are able to, because I mean, this is just about, it's about us. It's not really,
Exactly.
you're not doing it for anybody. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your child as well. Yes. Yes. I think maybe what we can also do is find a way to actually subsidize the cost of this, because if you want everybody to start using it, then I mean, they should be able to buy it.
That's true.
Yes. And
That's
so
very true.
we need to find a way around these things
That's
and
very
to
true.
protect our children. So 0 to 12 years now, if you are between, I mean, your child is within this age range, 0 to 12 years, then you need to have
fix the
child restraint system in your car. So
and lastly, the blood alcohol content I spoke about, the old law actually
the what?
The old law, the before the amendment,
Right.
Actually the threshold for the blood alcohol content was 0.08, but now the amendment has dropped it to 0.05, which is a global standard.
Okay.
And also by the WHO recommendation by the WHO.
So they reduce it. So
now not 0.08 but 0.05.
But how do they check that? Or when you get the accident, then somebody get involved?
I think when you get an accident, definitely then
they'll go and test and see whether you were drunk or not.
Exactly.
But the kinky can't give us.
Oh no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think
All right,
so.
anyway, Solo, thank you very much for bringing us
Welcome.
transport today this morning. Yeah, so that was my colleague Solomon Tetenate bringing us transport today this morning, telling us a lot about the new amendment in line with road traffic. And he says that right now the child restraint system, the age limit is 0 to 12 years. And so if your child is within that age range, then start preparing to actually get a child restraint system for your car, so that you can avoid accidents and all of that. Or even when you have accidents, it won't be as fatal. And so that is that for our Transport Today segment this morning right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. We have quite a number of other things coming up for you. And so please don't go anywhere, stick and stay. We'll get into all of that shortly. Emmanuel Barton will join me for the market trend segment shortly. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Metal. And I've got some good news for you this morning. If you're ready to step into your dream home, or you're praying and wishing and hoping to actually do that, then Lakeside Estate has got an exclusive offer for you. Now, with this offer, you can own your own house in just 2 years with no interest repayment. Yes, you heard me right. You can own your own house in just 2 years. Just 2 years with no interest repayment. And this offer gives you affordable payments, flexible home purchase plan, quality homes, and lifestyle choice. And you also get to choose from a variety of beautiful homes in any of Lakeside Hills clusters. Yes, of course. So your future awaits. Just imagine living in a home you love with the freedom to invest in your dreams without the burden of interest. Just imagine that. So as your CIMG Real Estate Company of the Year, for the fourth time, we offer you hassle-free home acquisition. And all you have to do is to place a call to us today on 020-477-5042, 020-477-5042, or 020-477-5040, 020-477-5040, or 05014186222, 05014186222. And so you can place a call to us now, and don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Once you call us, you can schedule a tour of our available homes. Yes, so please take advantage of this opportunity as soon as possible. Well, Lakeside Estate, quality homes for all. And so that will be it for the good news I've got for you this morning. We're going to get into our market trend segment shortly, but I have some birthday wishes I want to just do quickly before we move on. If you have your birthday wishes too, you want to wish somebody a happy birthday, feel free. I'm here to do that for you this morning. So 0544321019, 0544321019. You can actually send me that message and I will read them for you. Okay, this one is a birthday message, birthday wish actually from Solomon Tetenate. He says, happiest birthday, Bright. I don't think I can pronounce his name. But he says that happiest birthday, Bright. I wish you good health and happiness, and God bless you for being a brother and a very good friend. You will do well. You will do well. And that is from Solomon Tetenate, your very good brother and friend. So, Bright, happy birthday to you. Also from all of us here at Z101.9 FM. We wish you God's blessings this new year. May it be your best year yet. So thank you very much. And so if you want to also send a birthday wish, feel free. You can do that now. The lines are ready. Send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, and we'll read your messages for you this morning. You can also drop a comment or a wish under our live stream. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can actually drop a comment there and we'll read that for you as well. All right, so we'll get into our market trend segment shortly. Enjoy this one and we'll be right back. 101.9 FM with me, Trevi Hammond. That was Amwa and Amwa Praise Waiting, the June 2025 edition. A very packed song with multiple medleys. I mean, multiple songs from different artists. Very powerful one right there. Anyway, exactly 23 minutes after 8, and we get into our our market trend segment this morning. And today we're talking about something very important about our economic, our ratings. Now, we all know that our economy has been recovering, has been gaining some ground for some time now. But a fresh warning from S&P Global Ratings actually suggests that the journey is far from secure. And what the agency says is that our credit rating could actually come under pressure over the next 12 to 18 months if fiscal reforms actually lose momentum or external conditions worsen. And so we all know that we've made significant progress, restructuring about 97% of our debt, benefiting from strong gold prices and rising reserves and all of that. But the risks still remain. And this includes, according to what S&P said, high debt servicing costs, potential delays in the remaining restructuring, and vulnerability to global shocks. So, what exactly does this warning mean for Ghana's economy, investor confidence, and access to financing? And what must governments do to avoid a downgrade or even secure an upgrade? And that is exactly what we want to unpack this morning on our market trend segment. Emmanuel Boating, our in-house economic analyst, joins me over the phone lines for this conversation. Iman, good morning.
Good morning, Ethan.
How are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. How are you doing too?
I'm well too, by God's grace. Thank you very much for making time to join us this morning.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's start from here. What exactly does it mean when S&P Global Ratings says that Ghana's credit outlook is at a risk? And also, so first of all, what does that mean? And why should the average Ghanaian even care?
Thank you, and good morning to all our cherished listeners. This is a rating, and I'm pretty sure you clearly get what that would mean. You've been rated. In football, the footballers who play, and then FIFA and what have you would say that, this player is rated 93, this player is rated 80 something, and on and on and on. You rate them, you know that. And that rating is a reflection of performance. That is in the case of football. Now, when it comes to credit rating, then we are looking at the risk that if you lend money to an individual or an economic agent, they'll be able to pay back based on the conditions attached to lending that money to them. And so these external rating agencies typically would rate a country to be able to evaluate what the risk is with them. And, there are a number of them. And I think this morning we are speaking about S&P's rating. So it is typically a warning that they are giving that, the outlook of Ghana's economy is at a risk. It is signaling uncertainty about the country's ability to meet its future debt obligations, to pay for our debt. And I'm sure you've seen how we've gone through a rigorous debt restructuring program. We are still not done yet, but I'm sure that is quite clear to every single Ghanaian. What again do we have to know? What we have to know is time and time again, we go out looking for money, borrowing money and all. And very recently, there are conversations around, getting back to the bond market. That is also borrowing, And so we all will not have the expertise technically to be able to evaluate Ghana's debt situation and say that, when you lend money to Ghana, there are chances that they will not be able to pay back, or the country economy would not support its ability to be able to meet such obligations in the future. And so that is really what it means. And when you look at the ratings, the same way when you go to school, they are grades, that is somewhat rating academic performance from a very good student to, as it were, one that didn't perform so well. You have A, B, C's, and the like. It is the same with this. Currently, I think we are doing a B minus, which has to do with an economy having some kind of a stable outlook, and as it were, that we are still in a high risk category. And a downgrade So our rating will push us into further downward category as we have it. And so that is essentially what it means. And it may appear a bit complex for many people, but the truth is that we all should care about it. Why? Because if Ghana's rating goes further down, then it has implications for the government and for you and I. What does that mean? We will need money to be able to pay. I mean, nobody is going to forgive us our debts. We've seen HIPIC in the past and all. But recently, what we saw was a debt restructuring. They were not going to forgive us of our debts. They wanted their money, and we had to pay for it. And so money that would be used to sort out some, as it were, public goods and services, social amenities and the like, would now be redirected into paying off these debts. That is how critical it could be. And so it has an implication for us. And government's borrowing cost is going to go high. It is because of this reason that Ghana goes to the same capital market, international capital market, just like Poland. And Poland is paying, say, 7% on their loans, and we are paying somewhat around 15 or 20% on that same loan. That is it is because of that. And so that is really the reality. And the investors also watch that. An investor will watch that to make a decision as to whether or not to invest in the Ghanaian economy. All of that is very, very critical. And that is the situation that, unfortunately, we have here in our country.
I see. So what specific reforms are we expected, I mean, to maintain or accelerate?
Well, I think fiscal consolidation. I think there are roles that we must, that the country has to play, on the part of the government. Fiscal consolidation is key. Because one of the key questions I was asking myself, if we are to be downgraded or otherwise, where is it coming from? I mean, I thought at hindsight, this may be coming from the external pressure, the things happening in the external market and the like. That could be a major thing. But of course, you need fiscal consolidation, government deficit, manage your spending and the like. That is very critical.
Hello? Hello, Emmanuel?
Yes, Nishabi, I'm here.
Yes. We lost you for a few seconds.
Oh, sorry. So I was talking about fiscal consolidation.
Hello?
Yeah. So I was speaking to fiscal consolidation and making the point that is very critical, because if you do not fix that, if you just spend excessively, remember, the spending is what sort of is the reason why there is a debt in the first place. Like I've explained in the past, why do you borrow? You borrow because you don't have enough money to finance the expenditure. That is the reality. So you are borrowing because the money you have is not able to, say, build the roads you want to build, meet all the promises you've made to the Ghanaian people, etc., etc. And therefore you have to borrow. And so if you do not check your spending, then we are going to be into trouble. And if government is also not able to do that, one of the things they can easily do, which they usually do, I'm sure you've seen it, is to raise taxes. Because that is how they raise revenue typically. And that's how the government of Ghana generally raises revenue, is through taxation. And so once they tax goods and services, they are going to raise money through that means. So they are going to raise the tax. They are going to cut down on spending. That will include not employing people. And I'm sure you've heard that. There are times where government gets into that period where they say, oh, we are not going to employ people. We cannot employ people any longer. Because if you employ them, they have to be paid. And so that is the major point. And another major reform, and maybe these things I'm mentioning shouldn't really be reforms to be taken after about 68 years of independence. Fiscal consolidation must be a basic thing that we should all live by. The point I'm making is we tell people to spend within their means, and sometimes a little below it. But as a government, we have not been doing that. The other thing I want to talk about is debt management. At our own personal levels, we manage debt. At a point, you cannot borrow beyond a certain point because you do not even have the income to support that, amongst other things. So debt management is also critical. You see that. And currently, of course, I've seen that a lot of our debt is just coming from the e-bill market or the domestic market. So if we accumulate debt excessively beyond a certain threshold, you would agree with me that it comes back to harm us. It comes back to bite us again. And that is why we need to watch some of those things. So debt management is very, very critical. The interest you are paying on the debt, etc., etc. All of those things have to be managed properly and carefully. Otherwise, they will have an adverse implication on us. And then let's look at the structural compass of the economy, structural transformation. We cannot continue to rely heavily on commodity exports. That has proven not to be good for us. We cannot be trapped in that. It appears as though even the wealth we have as a country has become a curse for us. And it looks like we are dancing to the tune of that resource curse theory or phenomena. Why is this so? We've spoken many times about diversification, just moving from the export of primary commodities into, translating these primary commodities into semi-finished and finished goods so that we can be at the upper end of the value chain,
Right.
so that we can earn more from what we have. We've also spoken about, as it were, not just exporting to just one destination so that when there are issues, when there is trouble, we will be in danger. So these are all issues that we must pay attention to. And consistency is very important. We don't want a rating where today we've been rated risk default, tomorrow we've been rated selective default, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow we come to a junk status, then we are elevated back to high risk, then this and investors want consistency. If we are B minus now, someone is at triple A. Why can't we get to triple A? Triple A is like the creme de la creme kind of. When you get an A, it means the risk that you default is extremely low, closer
right.
to zero. And as you get down there, you are also closer to. In fact, it is more or less like lend money to this guy and trust me, he will not be able to pay. And that is just what it means. So it means so much for the average Ghanaian because you can see that if we are not able to pay this loans or we are not able to settle this and we are rated, we are downgraded, then the government will be forced to increase taxes to be able to do what? Finance its operations. In addition to that, we may see the thing we just saw not too long ago, which we call DDEP, Domestic Debt Exchange Program. That is going to happen again. And so it means a lot for every single person.
I see. Right, but we like you talk about DDEP. We know that we restructured about 97% of our debt. Why is there still concern about refinancing and debt sustainability?
Well, that's a good question, but at the heart of the response is another important question, which is to say that does debt restructuring solve our problem permanently? The answer is no. It gives you some short-term relief, It's like sometimes when you see headache, and you feel a bit nauseous, amongst other things, you could get some painkiller or something to give you a relief in the short term. But as I've been told by the medical practitioners, those medications are just to give us a short-term relief. On a more serious note, what we see as headache and nauseousness, amongst other things, are just a symptom of a deeper issue we are struggling with. And that is just the whole point. So, yes, debt restructuring will provide some temporary relief by reducing the immediate repayment pressures. But it does not eliminate the debt. It does not. The burden is still there, and we still have to pay for it. We face significant obligations in the coming years, especially as restructured debt will begin to mature. And I'm sure you've seen how we've been paying for some of them.
Yeah.
So there is an ongoing refinancing risk whenever you restructure your debt. Whenever you restructure your debt, it is not forgiveness. It is payback later. That is really what it means. And so the refinancing risk is still there. You still have to pay for it. It's like, maybe I owe you $5,000. And you know what? Restructuring is a situation where you say that, you know what? Pay me in 5 years' time. So, if I'm to pay now because this is the time to pay, then there is pressure on me to look for $5,000 to settle it now, which I do not have currently. And you say, you know what? Let's have another arrangement where you pay back this debt in 5 years' time. Does it mean that I will not pay the debt? I'm still going to pay the debt. So that is the situation we find ourselves in. So debt restructuring, albeit we pay, then 3% left still has to be paid. And we have to settle that in due course.
I
You see,
see.
another issue is that restructuring can limit access to international capital markets. And I'm sure that we all remember that. We were priced out of that market. You know,
Mm.
at a certain point, even in your neighborhood, I just want to bring this down to the basic level so that we can all appreciate it. If you borrow money from people in your neighborhood, it gets to a point where everybody becomes aware of it. Although we don't have any credit risk rating at an individual level here in Ghana. But people will hear that, oh, this guy, when he borrows money from me, he doesn't pay back. This lady,
Mm.
need to be what happens. Nobody wants to give money to you. That is the case, really. And that was what happened to us. We were kicked out of the international capital market. We didn't have any say. Nobody really wanted to look us in the eye and say that, you know what, government of Ghana, I'm going to lend you this money. I want to invest in your country. That did not happen. And that is the implication of say. So
Mm.
investors will typically say, no, you know what, let's wait and see if this guys will be able to do something good with themselves, if this economy is going to turn around before we would come and invest in that economy. And that is why we have seen in about a year the government of Ghana relying heavily on domestic markets, borrowing from the TBO market, Bank of Ghana notes. That is how the government has been financing its operations largely.
Mm.
Because we know, as a matter of fact, that government revenue financed through taxation is unable to meet government expenditure. We know that. And so this is the reality we find ourselves in. So even with restructuring, interest payments alone can consume a large portion of government revenue, and that will leave little room for developmental spending. Especially if revenue growth is going to slow. And we know the function of our revenue. We know what goes into it. Look at what is even happening right now. Cocoa prices are, gold prices are just falling. So yes, restructuring was good. It was a major milestone, but it is only one step in a longer journey toward full debt sustainability. The real test lies in maintaining discipline after the restructuring process is completed. Maybe don't forget that the reason why President Edufado went to the IMF, one of them was debt sustainability issues. Maybe I just want to remind every single Ghanaian that in every single application to the IMF, debt sustainability was in the application.
Mm.
You actually don't see Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's name in the literature because although he applied for an IMF relief program, he actually aborted the program. He didn't agree to it. So yes, he made the application, but he didn't take it. And I just want to announce that in his application also, there was debt sustainability issues. What point am I making? This is an issue that has been with us since the days of Dr. Nkrumah up until today. If we don't do anything radical about that situation, literally, it may just be in that spiral. And it will keep exacerbating. It will just keep aggravating. It will worsen and worsen day by day, period by period, time after time. And that is the situation we find ourselves in as a country. So we must necessarily work on that system. Otherwise, we are just trapped in here.
Mm. I see, but how critical is fiscal discipline at this stage of our economic recovery, especially under the IMF program?
Well, fiscal discipline is central to our recovery. If we cannot work on that, it's like asking a friend how critical is spending within your means to your survival or your long-term, as it were, living possibilities. It's like the air you breathe. And in Ghana, there is a very funny phenomenon. Maybe one day when I get into the studios, we'll look at that data. When I show you the expenditure pattern, the data of Ghana, every election year, you'll be surprised. Every election year is like our expenditure just doubles or triples. And guess what? We are in 2026. I'm told in 2028 you go to the polls, or we will go to the polls again. And there's going to be a higher expenditure again. And it always appears as though anytime we exit the IMF program is when the challenges begins to balloon. And that is why I'm even saying it is more critical now, because we'll be exiting the IMF program very, very soon. We'll be exiting the program very, very soon. So soon we'll be exiting that program. And that is why we need it more than ever. You see, after the debt crisis in 2022, restoring confidence in our public finances was the next most important step we had to take. And I think that is, for the most part, the effort that the government has been putting in place. That is what the government has been doing all year long. See, without discipline, any gain that we make as a country, trust me, could reverse quickly. We need that. A country that depends on, commodities, a country that still runs the Gagisberg economy, when Gagisberg himself is no more, needs discipline to stay alive. Otherwise, we will be no more. And what do I mean by that? We need to maintain very low fiscal deficits. The fiscal deficit is the difference between what you raise as revenue and your expenditure. And so if every time our expenditure is way more than the revenue we raise, then it should be, the answer is right there. Because our assets is equal to our equity plus liability, then we'll have to borrow to finance what we want to spend on. And that will, if we are not able to maintain low fiscal deficits, there will still be more pressure on us as a country. And if there is, then you see S&P, Fitch, and what have you downgrading us further and further. That is credit risk that they have been rating. That is credit risk. And that, the outlook on us is not too good. And fiscal discipline is needed to as it were, support monetary policy. In this country, I can say that monetary policy has sometimes been doing almost all the work. And sometimes you don't really see the coordination between the monetary side and the fiscal side. And it has hurt us for the most part of our life as a country. See, when government borrowing
we are seeing the coordination now, isn't it?
Somewhat coordination. I've heard some things that maybe today is not the day to talk about. Recently, I heard from the governor that it is nowhere that they have said they want to maintain the for instance, the exchange rate between 10 and 12. Maybe after here I can share the video with you. I'm sure you've heard it.
Yeah, I was in that city. Yes, I was in that event.
But you heard that from the president. You heard keeping the exchange rate between 10 and 12 from the president of the republic. And this is the governor of the central bank saying that they have not said that at any time. But of course, it is true because he has not said that. The monetary side has not said that. That came from the fiscal side. When the veil is lifted, that is when you're able to tell whether this is the bride you pay the price for to marry.
Okay.
Yes. So I agree. When you look at the historical, as it were, sequence of things, yes, I think the coordination I've seen so far since President Mahama came back into office has been incredible. It has been so good. I mean, maybe I've not seen that in a while. But what I'm essentially saying is that we need to keep them to their feet. I mean, we need to keep some fire on their toes so that they can do more because more has to be done. You see, if government borrowing is contained, then monetary policy side can be able to do its work of controlling or anchoring inflation and inflation expectation for that matter. That is very, very crucial. But if we are not able to do that, one of the reasons why inflation numbers keep going up is because of the fiscal side. Let us never forget that the biggest spender in any economy is the government. It is not the private sector. It is not NITREB and I, because sincerely, we don't even make up 0.1% of the entire aggregate expenditure in Ghana. No, we don't. So any small deviation at this point from fiscal targets could have an outsized consequence on the economy. So I think our recovery, yes, is steady. It has been phenomenal so far, but let us still call it a fragile one. And discipline is what will really determine whether Ghana consolidates our gains or we slip back into instability. And that is why I think we need discipline as much as we need the air we breathe.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, from S&P, I mean, well, S&P also highlights risks from the external sector, like weaker exports and, or terms of trade, really. How exposed are we to these global shocks?
I think to give you a straightforward answer, I would say that we are highly exposed to external shocks because of the structure issues I alluded to earlier in my submission. What is that? In each we still export raw commodities, primary commodities as a means of raising revenue. Look at the export of gold, for instance, the export of oil, number three, and so changes in global prices for any of these commodities necessarily directly affect export revenues. It affects our foreign exchange earnings and the income of the government. Implication. Now, the recent improvement in our external position has largely been driven by strong gold prices. If the prices on the global market begin to decline, for example, that advantage will disappear very quickly. It will be so fast, so fast. And so we need to be able to watch that more closely. Because if there is any let me say it this way. You know that to put up a good attitude, and sometimes in doing the right thing, it appears as though you are climbing a very difficult mountain. But doing the bad thing or destroying something, it really happens so easily and effortlessly. That is the point I'm making. It's like good news. It doesn't travel as fast. But bad news, I'm telling you, it travels very quickly. And that is the point I'm making. For you to build it up, it demands more work. For you to destroy it sometimes, it's just a little cornerstone. Just lift it from there. And the whole structure comes falling to the ground. Let's look at fluctuations in oil prices, for instance. Ghana is a net importer of oil. Any fluctuation in oil prices significantly impacts our economy. That is another major thing. And we've seen how just Iran and Israel in the Middle East, we've seen how that disturbance has affected oil prices. Yesterday, I read that we have lifted the oil price floor for oil, and that's the implication is that oil at the fuel pumps the prices of oil at the fuel pumps is going to go up. Literally, this is the reality we live in, and this is the structure of the economy. And some of us make the argument that, we discovered oil in this country somewhere in 2007, 2008. Literally, up until now, we still export crude oil. And the truth on the other side is we import refined oil.
Yeah.
A country that produces oil, exports the oil in the raw form, goes back and go and import the oil being refined. What are we doing to ourselves? And we'll still be exposed. Some of the chocolates that are processed on our markets are imported, but the cocoa beans is right here in Ghana. What have we done to our gold? Look at the name Tema Oil Refinery has had in the past. But that was a strategic investment. And I feel it's high time we look beyond primary commodity export. It's high time we look into how to refine our primary products and engineer this whole country on industrialization. Because that is where we have to be. Look at what we are doing to agriculture because of gold. Because of Galamsey, we are destroying our arable lands. Because of Galamsey, potable water would only exist in our textbooks as something that once was part of our country. Very soon, we'll open our taps and all we'll see is yellow, pink, and golden water. But water is colorless, and it is because of what we are doing to get gold from the soil. We are destroying everything. And it's not as though we even refine the gold. I mean, I'm not even supporting that in the first place, but the gold also goes out as a primary product. Net effect is a negative one on us. And that is the situation we find ourselves in. Literally, these things are dire issues. I believe the whole structure needs, we really need to re-engineer our structural issues as a country. And I think that once we begin from there, we can think of getting somewhere. Otherwise, where we are now, well, we'll get somewhere, but not a favorable place. Not at all.
I see. There are quite a number of things to talk about, but I'm also looking at our time. maybe just one more thing, and then we can go. Hopefully, we can continue the same conversation tomorrow, God willing. Now, there are concerns about delays in the remaining debt restructuring under the G20 Common Framework. How significant is this risk to investor confidence?
Thank you very much, Nichebi. I think that the effect is adverse. It's adverse because, you see, investors want a stable environment. You know you're an investor. I know you will not put your money somewhere that you will not get a positive returns on it.
Of course.
That is the situation. And so with this outlook, what would an investor typically do? Wait and see. Wait and see. And that is not good for us because we need that investment in this country to also spur growth. And so that is the situation. For me, I believe that the path we are on, given all that has happened, and sometimes I see some of these disturbances in the external environment as reminders, warnings, or as a checkmate, more like something to review who we truly are, as a mirror to show that you know what, all is not okay. Despite the gains you have made, you still have structural issues. The foundations of the economy are still not as strong, and you need to work on that. COVID-19, Russian-Ukraine war, what we see now, Israel-Iran, the war at Venezuela, etc., etc. All of these external developments, the issues with the cocoa prices, amongst other things, it's just to show Ghana that Ghana, there is still more room for improvement. That Ghana, your foundation is weak. The Bible tells us in Psalms that if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? And I think that we don't even have one at all. And that is why I think we need to start from there. Fix that issue. Investors will not worry. We will not worry about rating agencies. I don't think we are going to tune into a media house in the United States today, a media house in some developed country, and what you hear them talk about is a Gettysburg economy. What you hear them talk about is how they are dependent on primary commodities. What you hear them talk about is what S&P has to say about their credit risk. Check the debt to GDP ratio of the United States. Check the debt to GDP ratio of Japan. It's more than 200%. But it's not a matter of concern. There's still investments ongoing there. Why is this an issue for us when it is even below 60% here in Ghana? This is the reality. We have no foundation. And so nobody really wants to come here because everything is gone.
I see. All right, Ima, we'll touch on some other things tomorrow, God willing. I mean, I think there are issues around why, the gains that we've seen and why these gains are not enough to actually fully secure our credit outlook. And I'm talking about our current account surplus, our rising reserves. I think we have about up to 6 months import cover and some other things. But why are we not really, why are these gains not fully enough to secure the credit outlook? And there are some other things that we'll talk about tomorrow, God willing. But I'm really grateful for your time. I don't know if you have any final words now or you save that for tomorrow.
I don't have much. I don't have much to say. I'm in a sad mode now. It's not like I'm talking down on Ghana, but nature the diagnoses are not good. And as a doctor, we need to tell the patient and the family of the patient that this is what is wrong, and this is what we have to do. Unfortunately, what I can do is what I'm saying. Those who have work to do, those are the helms of affairs. And our prayer is with them. We'll support them, but as much we demand a higher level of accountability. It's very key.
All right, Ima, thank you very much. Really grateful for your time and for your insights this morning.
You're welcome.
All right. Please do enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right, thank you. Well, that was Emmanuel Boateng, our in-house economic analyst, and he joined me this morning. We've been talking about the S&P caution. S&P ratings caution to Ghana that if we don't take care very soon, we're gonna fall back into where we actually came from. If we don't check certain things, and one of the items that one of the elements that they mentioned is our fiscal consolidation, also our debt management, and some structural reforms. As for that was said by Emmanuel, and he says that these are some of the things that we have to really look at. They are the reforms that we need to maintain or accelerate, so that we can see the opposite of the things that the S&P rating is actually saying that we might see if we don't take care. So That is all for, for our market trend segment this morning. We are going to get into a roundtable discussion, and this morning we have a very important conversation coming up. Now, we are told that Ghana's insurance industry has only about 1% penetration, and we're going to talk about exactly what that means and why the industry is actually struggling. What can we do about it? How can we get more people into the insurance bracket? Because a lot of people only have insurance on things that are compulsory. For instance, the vehicle one, for instance, and a few other insurance that are that are compulsory. So how can we actually get people to be interested in all of these things? That's what we'll be talking about shortly. My guest is already around, and he's going to join me shortly for the conversation. So please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay. We'll take a quick music break. When we return, we bring you our conversation on Ghana's insurance industry. Please don't go anywhere. Stick and stay. was African Praise Medley by Team Eternity Ghana. Well, we get into our roundtable discussion this morning, and like I told you earlier on, we're talking this morning about 1%, our insurance industry, really. Now, a recent report actually indicates that we have, just 1% insurance penetration here in Ghana. And so this morning, and 1% is very small. Now, on paper, we have a growing industry. We have insurers, we have products, we have regulation, we have systems in place. But in reality, for most Ghanaians, insurance is still not part of everyday life. And it's something we hear about, but we don't always feel. And that raises an important question this morning. We're asking why. Because in a country where millions actually live and work in the informal sector, where a single accident, illness, unexpected loss can actually wipe out years of effort, protection should not be optional. I believe strongly it should be something fundamental. So today we're asking, what exactly is holding the insurance industry back? Is it trust? Is it awareness? Is it access? Or something deeper in how the system is designed or an experience? And so my guest this morning is already seated. His name is Edward Kojo Owusu. He is a chartered insurance professional, and he joins me this morning for this all-important conversation. Mr. Owusu, good morning. You're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Zed.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. It's been a long time.
Yes.
We haven't seen you in a while. But good to have you here today. Thanks so much for making time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start very simple. When we say Ghana has just 1% penetration, insurance penetration, what does that actually mean in practical terms?
Okay, thank you very much. So when we say Ghana has 1% penetration rate, we are looking at the number of people who have access currently to insurance product, one form of insurance product or the other. You see, Ghana has a population of over 30 million, and out of that 30 million, we're looking at the percentage of people who actually have access, who actually have one insurance product or the other. And as you just indicated in your introduction, 1% is very low. Looking at our population, looking at the number of people we have in Ghana and the benefits of insurance, it means that there's work to be done. Yes. So in terms of penetration, it's very low because a lot of people are not even aware of insurance. A lot of people who are even aware are not buying it. Yes, exactly.
And so the 1% we should be worried about it.
Yeah, we should. Globally and even in the African continent, looks like our penetration rate is very low.
Very low.
And there are even some statistics that even put it below 1%.
Okay.
Yes, so 1%, yes, just to make ourselves happy, but it could even be below the 1% because a whole lot of people do not have access to insurance, or they have an idea about insurance, but they are not really patronizing the insurance. Exactly.
But what would a healthy penetration look like? What would be the percentage for a healthy penetration?
Well, I think anything between 3 to 5% should be okay. For a start, looking at where we've come from, looking at the number of insurance companies that we have, looking at the number of brokers that we have, number of agents, and even with the coming in default of micro insurance and other things, we shouldn't be still, because we've been at this 1%, below 1% for a very long time. And I think we need to progress from there. Looking at even now with the coming in of technology and other things, there's more that we can do to increase that. So 3%, but from 1% to 5% is high, but maybe now within the short to medium to long term period, we can look at maybe 1 to 3%.
1 to 3%.
Yes.
No, we're already 1, so 3 to 5%.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm curious. The report actually says that we have over 50 registered insurance, licensed insurance, and all of that. Why do we still have a problem of penetration?
Okay, I think there are several factors that account for this low penetration. And from my experience as an insurance salesperson or marketer, once you go out there and the complaints that we have, it cuts across. And I think the first major reason or factor, it's about trust.
Okay.
Trust. And then
the people don't trust the insurance.
Yes, the people don't trust insurance, and this stems from the fact that they believe claims are delayed or claims are not paid, and that at a point when you buy insurance and then there's time for you to receive your claim, insurance companies come up with stories.
Okay.
So people lose trust, or people don't have trust in the insurance companies,
or in insurance products.
Right.
So let me give you an example. Somebody buys an insurance. You know, insurance only comes into play when there's a loss and then you have to be compensated.
Yeah.
So at the point of compensation, if the people do not get what they expected to get, then they lose trust.
And
then,
whose fault is that?
well,
Is it that you people don't sell the products very well to the people? You don't explain things clearly to them?
it could be both ways. One, perhaps we as insurance people are not explaining the products well to the people.
Okay.
And two, maybe the insurers, the people are also not reading the policy document, because you know every insurance policy comes with a document. It comes in attached conditions, terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Okay, so on our part as insurance companies, perhaps you are not doing a great job by explaining the products to them. And then people are also not taking time to read and ask questions.
Right.
So when that situation happens, then when the claim comes, insurance people are going to, or insurance companies are going to apply what the policy document says.
Right.
And since you also didn't read and then ask questions, then you think that, okay, why was this not explained to me at the beginning when I was buying the insurance?
Right.
Why is it now coming up? So let me give you a typical example. You know, motor is a basic policy that we sell here on our market.
Yeah.
Because motor is a compulsory
It's
insurance policy.
compulsory, yeah.
So especially when it comes to the comprehensive, there are two types. As an individual, I have the option to buy either the 90% comprehensive or the 100% comprehensive.
Okay.
When I buy the 100%, the assumption is that if in the event of a loss or a claim, the insurance companies will pay everything. Okay. But this is the case where a loss happens and then the bill you bring, perhaps your car is an old car. Assuming my car is maybe 2015
Right.
registered model car. I've done 100% insurance. Because the car is about 11 years old now, obviously the parts I'm going to buy now will be new. So insurance has something that they will tell you that new for old. So there will be a contribution that they will apply. But because you as an insured, you purchase 100% cover, when these deductions or adjustments are made, you feel like insurance companies are cheating you. You understand? And then once that happens, the trust issue comes in. People don't trust insurance because I bought this, you are giving me this. But these things are also stated in the policy condition, policy terms.
Okay,
But
right.
because the insurers are also not reading, or because we are not explaining, because you know they are target. People rush to sell policies because they want to meet targets. But we don't really take our time to explain the policies to the people.
So
Yes.
your side of things, there's a problem there.
Yes.
On the side of the consumer or the one that is coming for the
Yes.
policy, also there's a problem that we need to deal with.
Address.
Which
Exactly.
other issues apart from trust?
Okay, so apart from trust, there's also an economic issue. You know, yes.
How do you mean?
Economic issue, because you know, if you look at Ghana, about a greater chunk of our population are in the informal sector.
Yeah.
I mean, these are artisans, people who are not having regular incomes. You know, insurance premiums in Ghana are quite high.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you look at the hierarchy of needs, people are rather interested in their basic needs than the insurance, because people don't really see insurance as an essential commodity to purchase.
Okay.
You understand? Because if my income level is low, I'm tempted to focus more on my basic needs like food and other things instead of looking at insurance. Yeah, so economic conditions in terms of financial strength is also another factor
That's one of
why
them.
people are not buying insurance.
But from what you said, I also see the relevance that people don't see the need.
Yes. Because like I'm saying, people rate their needs.
Okay.
All right. So assuming my income level is 1,000 Ghana cedis, in a month I'm receiving 1,000 as a salary. The basic third party premium for even a car is 557. You understand?
Yeah.
So I'll rather focus on other basic needs like food, like education, my children's fees and other things, instead of buying the insurance. So even with the motor insurance like this, if not for the fact that it's compulsory and that the police will disturb you if they meet you and you don't have insurance, people will not even have patronized it. So economic factors also contribute to the low patronage of insurance products.
Right. So trust, economic issues, relevance. Which other things? Some people actually say that your products don't match their needs. What do you have to say to that?
That's I was going to come to that. That's also true. So everybody has a need. Okay, like I said, in Ghana, most of our population are in the informal sector. What are they interested in? What are the things they are looking at? So somebody's looking at, okay, in the event that I fall sick, I need something to fall on. You know, Ghana, we are more cultural. Funerals and things, you understand?
Yeah.
So people are looking at things that they will directly benefit from. So for instance, somebody comes to say, okay, I buy a fire insurance. Nothing happens to my house. What happens? I purchase a motor insurance policy. In a year, nothing happens to my car. The premium is gone. But let me chip in that one thing we also forget is that insurance is a pool. Okay? So insurance products, the premiums that people are contributing, we all contribute to the pool so that in the event of a claim, the people who are making losses within that pool are compensated. Okay. So that people need to get that understanding. But you see, most of our products are channeled or are targeted at the people in the formal sector. And these are people who fall below maybe 30% of the population.
Right.
So I think we also need to channel or redirect our focus more on the informal sector and come up with policies or products that meet their daily needs or that meet their daily conditions. And I think when we do that, the penetration rate will go up. Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
So even there, when you were speaking earlier on about trust, I think one of the things too that I saw in your submission is a lack of understanding.
Yes.
I think some people do not understand
Exactly.
the products properly.
Yes, insurance terms, insurance policies, most of the policy documents, the words in there are very technical. And so lack of awareness, people don't understand the policies of the product. And as an industry, perhaps we're also not doing very well by educating people on these insurance products. And you see, most of these policies are also in English. So looking at our country with most people in the informal sector, perhaps if we can also use our local languages to explain these policies to the people through radio adverts, through community engagements, then people will understand. Because sometimes even the people who are selling the products, the agents, some of them do not even understand the product that they are selling. You understand? So the education bit is very important.
Very important.
Very, very important, because once people get to understand what they are buying and there's a claim, there's no issue because he knew what he was buying from the beginning, and that trust issue will be gone. So I think aside the trust, lack of awareness and education is one very important factor why people are not really buying insurance.
Why is there lack of understanding the system? Is it because these days a lot of people are unemployed, and as a result, some of these insurance companies will just open up their pool, bring some people, try to train them, and then just deploy them to go and sell insurance? Could that be the reason why?
Yeah, that could be, because you see, especially with the agents that I don't know if you've encountered, there are sometimes you meet people. So people come out of secondary school, they are looking for jobs, and then they come to the insurance companies, they register as agents, they are trained, and then they go out there. But these trainings sometimes take like a month. But you as a person, as an insurance person or an agent, you need to also read more. But because the moment they are done with the training, they are given targets. And most of these agents also get their remuneration through commissions. And you can only get commission when you are bringing in business. So they don't really take time to understand the policies that they are selling, to educate themselves and go out there and sell. They just go out there. So, for example, I met one gentleman at one of the banks. He approached me and he wanted to sell insurance to me. No, he wanted to sell insurance to me. And so when he approached me, he just told me that I should sign the form. I should give him my bank account, sign the form, and then when he gets to the office, I said, no, you are selling the product to me. You need to explain and I told me I'm an insurance person. So you just can't just, and that is what is happening. They meet, especially these agents, secondary school agents, they meet people and then they try to sell the policies to them without explaining. You understand? Because they also want to meet targets. So I think as an industry, we need to look at this holistically. We need to do more of training of our agents. That's why I would rather encourage people to deal or to work with brokers, because brokers are trained professionals who understand the policies and who educate you, explain the policies to you, so that if anything happens, you know that this is what I actually purchased. I'm not also by this saying that agents are not good. We also have very well-trained agents. But I think we can do more as an industry by training some of these agents who go out there, tell them what the policy covers, what is covered, what is not covered, what are the terms and conditions, so that when they go out there, they can also explain to the people that this is what you are buying. So in the event of a claim, everybody is on the same page.
Right. Okay, very, very important. Exactly 20 minutes after 9, this is a business breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. And this morning we're talking about Ghana's 1%, insurance penetration. And we're having a conversation on that, asking exactly what is wrong with the industry, or why is that happening in this country. And my guest is Edward Kojowusu. He is a chartered insurance professional, and he's helping us have this conversation this morning. You are free to also send us your text and comments on our WhatsApp number. We are on WhatsApp at 0544-321019, 0544-321019. or you can call us on 03039566641, 03039566641, and then we will we'll give you the opportunity to ask your questions or make your comments. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment under the live stream and we'll read them for you. You can also share the link with your family and friends and get them to be a part of the conversation this morning. All right. So you spoke earlier on about, Edward, traders.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's take somebody typically, maybe in Agbubloshi market, somebody who's selling there. You talked about they not having regular income. I think somebody like that has regular income.
Yeah.
Just that maybe it might not be structured, and all of that.
Exactly.
If we take somebody typical like that, what do you think will be the problems, or why is insurance not part of that person's thinking? What are the issues?
Lack of awareness and education. Simple. Because we are not going into the markets to explain these policies to them. We are not engaging them enough. So she's there, perhaps she's head of insurance, but they don't really understand the products.
Okay.
Or we are not even designing products that meets their needs. Because people tend to buy things that will benefit them. So for a trader, for example, a trader in the market, what is the product that will benefit him or her?
Yeah.
He's looking at if there's fire to his shop or his tabletop, how is he going to recover? Most of the times you see on TV, they are crying when there's fire in the market. They are calling on the government to come and help them.
Yes. And all of that.
But if you go to them and explain to them that, okay, these things that you are selling, if we can insure it for you, and in the event of a fire, you get these benefits, then with that understanding, they will buy.
So shouldn't you people be going to the Katamanto, KJTI, and all of these areas where it has become almost like a regular thing? Every year we hear of fires in those areas.
So that's actually started with the microinsurance product.
Okay.
So microinsurance are policies that are designed for low-income earners, these traders, these artisans. So with that one, even the payment of the premium is very flexible.
Yeah.
You can pay either daily, weekly, or monthly through Momo and other channels. You understand? So that has started. The education we are doing, but I think we need to do more. We need to do more. But the challenge too is that, you see, insurance is supposed to cover accidental losses, not obvious risk. So sometimes you go into the market and you look at the risks that you are faced with, and most of the insurance companies will run away from it, because most of these markets, they have wooden structures. And once it's a wooden structure and there's fire, everything is gone. So balancing the risk and balancing the insurance is also another issue.
Okay.
You understand? Because it's not like we are not going out there. But you see, there are times that they even come to us, and some of the insurance companies will not insure them because of the structures that they are located in. Because insurance company want to insure a structure that is well built, look at the conditions around. But most of our markets, they are not really structured. They are wooden structures and things. And then you're also looking at, okay, this is an obvious risk that is there, and anything can happen. But we can also put in risk mitigating measures and structures to solve some of these issues and educate the people, and then I believe they will purchase the insurance products. Yes.
So what would make somebody like that actually say that they need an insurance? More education.
Yes, more education. So once the people are educated, so once the market woman knows that, okay, if I take a fire policy and there's fire to my products, I'll get compensated. They will do, because obviously looking at how much they have in their shops and the premium they will pay is very minimal.
Right.
So paying small for something higher in the future is something that they will do.
They would want to do.
So we need to do more education. We need to go into the market and explain the terms to them, or design policies that meet their needs. Design policy and they make the terms so understandable that they will understand. Perhaps even use their unions. Most of these market women belongs to unions, and they tend to respect their union leaders. Use them to explain the policies to them. And once they understand it, I believe they will buy. They will buy.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. What are some of the biggest misconceptions in your industry? I think you mentioned one early on about
we don't pay claims.
You don't pay. Yes.
That's the biggest, that we don't pay claims. But I think that has changed now, because you see, I always tell the people that I meet or the clients that I go to that what we're actually selling is the claims. You understand? It's a claim that we are selling.
How so?
Because so why are you? If I want to insure my car, why do I want to insure my car? I want to insure my car that in the event of an accident, I get compensated. I want to insure my house so that in the event of fire, I am compensated or I'm reinstated.
Right.
So I'm actually buying for the claim. the policy that I'm purchasing. That's why when you take a policy, it tells you what is covered and what is not covered.
Okay.
So what is covered is what I'm actually purchasing. You understand?
Right.
So now, if you're an insurance company, if you're an agent, if you're a broker, and you are not settling claims promptly, then you'll be out of business because nobody will come to you. So that perception it's been there for long, but I think it's changing now.
It is getting better.
It is getting better,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, because every insurance company wants to be in the good books of their clients or their customers. Because you see, because of the low penetration rate, we are all chasing the same customers. So if you don't handle your customers well, your clients well, the next year they are moving to the next insurance company. So I think that it's getting better.
Okay.
Yes.
But what percentage, I don't know if you have the data, but what percentage of claims are actually paid?
Well, I don't really have the data in my head, but from my experience with the companies that I deal with and the people, insurance companies are paying more claims. And I think we're also not doing a good job by publishing them. You understand?
Right.
So people are saying we are not paying claims, but there are companies that pays over 20 million, 30 million in a year in claims. But because they are also not publishing the data that, okay, we've paid so and so, people are not getting to know. And you see, insurance is relationship or based on it. So it's just the people who are benefiting that will appreciate what they are buying. But if the insurance companies can do more by publishing the claims that they are paying, by advertising it, maybe sometimes even showing it on TV, then people know that, oh, indeed, this thing, it works. You understand?
Yeah.
Because claims that we are paying.
So do you think that maybe there could be a framework or something that is put together that every year you actually come and announce the number of claims that do you think that there's a gap there or something could be done about that? So every insurance companies can come and publish the number of claims that they've paid for a year. Do you think that would improve?
Yeah, that would greatly improve the perception out there. Because like I'm saying, people, daily we are paying claims. To the extent that now there are even companies where if you make a claim below a certain amount, 24 hours you are paid.
Wow.
Yes. There are companies that if the amount is below, for example, there's a company, if the amount is below 30,000 your claim amount is below 30,000, they pay you within 24 hours.
Wow.
And they pay you through Momo. So it's very fast. These things are happening within the industry. Insurance companies are paying huge claims, millions of cedis in claims. But because we are not really making noise about it, because we are not publishing it, we are not advertising it in the media for people to know that this is actually what is happening, that perception still lingers on. So if we're able to do that education, if we're able to publish these things, then people know that indeed the insurance people are paying claims. And that will even boost their confidence and encourage them to come and buy insurance products.
Some people actually say that sometimes the processes for the claims actually are too cumbersome. It's too long. All the things that they have to do, and often sometimes they are rejected. What makes the processes so long, or what makes it look delayed, for a long time? And which things also make it rejected when somebody puts in a claim? Okay.
So you see, the first thing about claims, that immediately you get a loss, you're supposed to notify the insurance company. So either you notify them via email, via telephone, or telephone call, or maybe a WhatsApp message. So depending on your relationship officer you are working with, immediately there's a claim. If you are working through a broker, you notify the broker, who will then move on to notify the insurance company.
Okay.
If you are working with an agent, you notify your agent, he notifies the insurance company. If you purchase your policy directly from the insurance company, you have their contact, you notify them. And then once you notify them, because most of the insurance policies have this duration, within 7 days, you're supposed to give them notification. So it's time bound once the accident happens. And the reason is that it gives the insurance company the opportunity to prepare that, okay, this is coming. Or if they have to even inspect and make some investigations, they do all those things within that. That's why early notification is very important.
Right.
And once you've notified, you're supposed to gather your documents. So example, if I say I have an accident with my car, what's the evidence? I need to present pictures of the car. I need to present an invoice. I need to present my driver's license. And then the insurance company can then go ahead and process the claim.
Right.
The reason why sometimes it delays that some of the clients, they can notify you all right, but they will not bring these documents early. Sometimes somebody will just present to you the pictures. It takes a week before they bring the invoice. It takes another week before they bring you the driver's license. And you see, once the insurance companies do not have the component of all these documents, they cannot go ahead to process. And that delays the process, and then people will feel like, oh, the insurance companies are delaying. So what I'll say to the people out there, the insurers out there, that once you have a claim, quickly put together your documentation, put together the things that the insurance companies will request of you, present it, and then once you do that, there will be no delays. They will pay. They'll process it, and then they will pay. Because some of the accident or some of the claims, they need to investigate it as well.
Okay.
Yes, because once you present the thing, surveyors will have to come and look at it, or loss adjusters will have to come and assess the loss, and then make some adjustments.
Right.
Because we don't also want to, insurance, you're not supposed to benefit from an insurance product and policy. It's just to indemnify you, and by indemnity, you have to be restored to where you are prior to the accident.
Yeah.
So if there's a small damage and you bring a huge bill, they need to investigate this and do some adjustment. All these processes go, and sometimes it delays. So once you have presented your documents, then the insurance company to have the opportunity not to delay. Then they'll come quickly, and then your claim will be settled.
But that is on the part of the customers.
Yes.
Is there anything in the systems that you people use that is also the problem?
Well, you see, the claims officers can only work with the documents that they have.
Okay.
So most of these delays are from
The
the
customers.
insured. You understand? Because if a claim, the claims officers also have KPIs that they are working with. That if you receive all documents, you have a timeline within which to settle the claim. So once they've received all the documents, I don't think there'll be any reason to delay. If they are delaying, then you may have a cause then to report them to maybe the NIC.
Okay.
But once the clients or the insured have presented or submitted all their documents, I don't see why an insurance company will delay your claim. Yeah.
So in what instances are there rejections as well?
Okay, so there are also fraudulent claims in the system. So maybe the accident even didn't happen.
Okay.
You understand? So in the event that, because we are here to pay, and you see, we're also here to pay accidental losses. Insurance pays for only accidental losses. Emphasis on accidental. So sometimes I get clients. So I had a client who recently called me that her engine broke down. All right. And the first question I asked, was it an accident? She said no. So automatically it means that we are not liable to pay, because insurance will not pay for mechanical damages and wear and tear and those things. The loss should be as a result of an accident. So if your loss is not as a result of an accident, they'll reject it. 2, if you present any fraudulent claim that you want to benefit from insurance, it might be rejected. 3, if you're an unlicensed driver and you get into an accident, so for example, you are driving, you have an accident, and at the time of that accident, your license was not renewed, or you didn't even have a valid driving license, it means that you are an unlicensed driver. Insurance company can use that to also reject your claim. So these are some of the factors or reasons why claims are rejected. Yes.
Okay, let's move on to and talk about the affordability. Now, some people think that insurance is very expensive. Is it expensive, or that's just like maybe a perception people have about?
Well, I think it's a perception people have, because you see, like I'm saying, insurance companies are carrying a risk. So for example, you want to insure your car for, let's say, 100,000. Okay. Depending on their usage, because they are classified under usages. So we have private usage, corporate, own goods, general cartage, private, commercial.
Right.
So depending on what you are going to use the car for, then the applicable rates will be used. So for example, if I buy a car for a value of, say, like 100,000, and I want to insure it comprehensively as an individual, the basic rate is 5%. Which is about 5,000. If I'm entitled to no claim discount, those discounts will be applied. If you're not entitled to any discount, it means that you're paying the 5,000 plus the third-party premium. Okay, so paying 5,500.
What is a third-party premium?
So you see, with the motor, we have 3 types. We have the third-party only, the third-party fire and theft, and the comprehensive. The third-party premium is the basic premium that we pay to cover your liability to third parties. So the basic cover on the market is the third party. But if you are doing comprehensive, because the third party is also a factor or a component in it, we add that premium to that. Yes,
sure,
exactly.
go ahead.
So paying 5,000 for a car valued 100,000, do you think it's expensive? Because in the event of a loss, and it's a total loss, the insurance company is going to pay you that 100,000. Or that's if you did a 100% cover. If it's 90% cover, they're going to pay you about 90,000.
Yeah.
So do you think it's expensive? So I think it all comes down to the education. People need to be educated. And people also say it's expensive because perhaps he's paying that much and he's not making any claim within the year.
Yeah.
But like I explained earlier, insurance is a pool. So it's, we say in our insurance plans that the contribution of the many is used to pay for the losses of the few.
Okay.
You understand? So all of us are contributing. So your car is 100,000. You are paying 5,000. My car is 1 million. I'm paying maybe 50,000. We are all contributing to the pool. So the premiums that we've all paid is what will be used to settle for the losses of the few.
Okay.
But people are paying premiums, but they are not making any claims. They think that, oh, why am I throwing money away? But I think looking at the losses that we are insuring, the premiums you have, they are quite okay. And you see, after the first year too, your premium reduces. If there's no claim, there's something called no claim discount. Your premium will reduce after the first year, up to the fifth year if it is private.
Is it significant?
Oh, so if it's a private car, after the first year, you get 25% discount on your premium. After the second year, you get 30%. It moves to 35, 45, and 50% by the fifth year. So by the fifth year, you are paying like half of the amount you
Is
pay.
that a standard or it depends? It varies from.
So that's the standard
company
for this. So these discounts apply to private individuals and private corporates. When it comes to commercial, there are also discounts there, 10%, 15, 25% maximum. So if within the year you don't make any claim, your premium reduces. So it's not like you are paying the same amount consistently.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So it changes with time.
It changes with time.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Thanks for letting give me that information. So now, so you talked about access also early on. The access gap, especially outside cities and all of that. Yes. How big is the gap?
Very big, because there are a lot of people in the rural areas and in communities who do not even have access to radio, to even maybe listen to the adverts that the insurance companies are placing on these stations.
Right.
People are in the villages, they don't even have access to internet to even go online to maybe access the social media platforms of the insurance companies. So we need to go there and educate them, or we need to use the communities. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think insurance companies need to look at their distribution channels. You know, and one thing too is that in Ghana, we are more religious. You understand? So if one way of also increasing the penetration rate is to use the religious bodies, the churches.
The churches, right.
Because, you know, people tend to listen to their pastors and their spiritual leaders.
Yeah.
So why don't we engage these people? Exactly. Engage these people, explain it to them so that even on Sundays, they can make this announcement to the people in the rural areas.
But here lies the case. The pastor also believes that God will save them from all the calamities, the fire outbreaks and things. So
yes, God does that. But you say there's also a pastor who said that God will never do with a miracle what you must do with the responsibility.
Right.
You understand? So yes, God protects all of us. Are you saying that whose homes are getting burnt and the market where they don't serve God? They go to church every Sunday. But also, God has given us the mind.
A church even collapsed.
Exactly.
Yes.
You see, they were worshiping God.
Yeah.
Are you saying that God was not listening to them? That's how God has given us that raw power, that mind to also take decisions. You understand?
Yeah.
So yes, the God factor is there, but you also need to take steps. Then we all have God. Then why are you working? You should sleep. When you wake up in the morning, God will put money on your bed. You understand?
Right.
Bible even says the hand that does not work should not eat.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you also need to take steps to safeguard what you have. You understand? So once these things come up, you go to homes, you want to sell fire insurance to people, and they say, oh, we've been here for years, nothing has happened. God protect us. But then you bring the person to the reality of things, you explain to them, give them examples, they understand, and then they buy. So I think one key thing is education.
Right.
And using the right channels. So these churches use the pastors, use the community elders, use the unions that they belong to, taxi drivers, their unions, masons, use their unions to reach out to them. Use languages that they understand. Use mediums that they understand. Now, fortunately, people are on almost everybody is on have Momo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Momo. So why don't you engage with the telcos? Some of the companies are doing that already anyways.
Yeah.
Where people can pay their premium through Momo. You understand? Develop policies that people can understand. And then once you do these things, people will purchase or patron the insurance products. Yes.
All right. So I'm looking at our time. There are quite a number of things to talk about. So let's move to the industry accountability. Now, do you think that, okay, of course, we've spoken about the education bit of things. And so
In terms of, okay, still on the education and
Yeah.
outreach and all, trying to reach these people,
Yeah.
whose responsibility is it? Is it the regulators? Do you think regulators should be doing that, or the insurance company or the industry? I mean,
I think it should be the responsibility of the whole industry. So the regulator, the insurance companies.
okay.
Yes, because once people are aware, it benefits the industry. You understand?
Yeah.
So even government, because I think government should also take responsibility by engaging people through this education. Because, for example, if people are educated, if the NCC goes out there and educates people on insurance, and people buy into the idea of insurance and buy insurance, if there's fire, they will not call on the government to come and help them. We will not use the state's money to go and compensate them, because these people understand insurance, they've purchased it, and the insurance company will take over and pay them.
But
So
here lies
also-
the case. You said your insurance company sometimes do not want to even insure these people because of the risk associated with the work that they are doing.
So let's
and
do
all of
proper risk assessment. Go into the market. Make sure that if so, we need to assess what leads to these fires. We need to assess what leads to these fires. So if it's about electrical faults, if it's about people cooking in their shops that is leading to these fires, educate them. Take the fire service to the market to educate them on these measures that they can take to prevent these fires. So that they will not cook in the shops, they will do proper wiring so that these fires will be minimized. And once that is done, then you can go ahead and insure them. Yes, you can go ahead and insure them.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. So industry must take the responsibility,
exactly.
and everybody else in there. Now let's so do you think that the industry is too focused on selling the insurance than solving problems? Because that's a narrative out there as well. They said people, you're just interested in selling your product. So when you come, you just talk about products. You're not really there to solve our problems.
Well, I think insurance companies are there to solve problems. Like I said from the beginning, what we are selling is the claims. It's just that maybe the education is not going down
Yes,
well.
maybe you're not communicating that well.
Exactly, we're not communicating it well. So what we can do as an industry is also train the people who go out there to represent us.
Okay.
Our agents, the brokers, the direct marketers, and all that, because they are going out there to sell. We are not just interested in the money. We are not just interested in selling policies to you. We're interested in helping you in the event of a loss, to bring you back to the position you were in.
Right.
Just that maybe we are not communicating it well enough, and that's one thing we have to look at. And once that is done, all these perceptions will be gone.
Will be gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you early on mentioned mobile money
Yes.
and digital. I mean, one of the things is also digital finance.
Exactly.
We're seeing that it is growing. How can we use technology to help increase insurance uptake?
Yes. So like I said, payment of premiums through Momo. Yes. So the insurance companies can partner with the banks. I say the banks, the telcos. Sorry, with maybe MTN, Telecel, Airtel, Tigo, where people, because now a lot more people have access to mobile money now. So once you are selling to them, because sometimes the challenge is how to pay premiums. Or so with technology, with Momo, you can even structure it in such a way that people can pay premiums even on daily basis. So there's this one that I'm on my network,
Okay.
where premiums are deducted from your credit. People buy credit every day. You understand? So that one, you don't even see that they are deducting it. You don't feel it. So that's another way to get people to buy. So once I purchase credit and I have that insurance, it's deducted from my credit. That's one way we can use to reach out to people. Also engaging with these fintech companies to develop offline apps, because like I said, even people in the rural areas might not even have internet. But if you're able to develop these short codes that people can pay premiums and educate them on it, that will also help. That will also help.
All
Yes.
right. So are there some examples that are already working? Do you see some already going on?
Oh yeah. Like the example, like I don't want to mention any network here, but the network I'm on,
Okay.
they have this insurance, Bima insurance that we are doing. Then is micro insurance premiums are deducted through the credit that I buy. So at the end of the month, they send you a message indicating your insurance for the month and how much it was deducted from your credit. MTN also is partnering with other companies, and people are buying insurance through the MTN Momo app
Yeah.
and paying premiums to that. So it's something that is happening on the market. Yes.
What is a micro insurance? I've also heard of embedded insurance.
Yes. So
what are the differences?
So micro insurance, like I said, is there are policies designed for low income earners or people in the informal sector.
Right.
Yes. So we are looking at these artisans. We are looking at these market women, these traders out there, people who are outside the formal bracket. You understand?
Okay.
And with the micro insurance, see, the people in the formal sector, like these premiums are expected to be paid once every year. But when it comes to the micro insurance, the premiums are broken down into smaller amounts.
Okay.
Where you can choose whether to pay you can even pay daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on your financial strength. You understand? So that is one way also some of the companies are doing now to reach out to these market women. Another way too is that some of the companies are partnering with these transportation. So that when you buy a ticket, your ticket comes with an insurance. So in the event of an accident, you're compensated.
Oh, okay.
So these VIP buses, these buses that
travel long journey.
Yes. These are all micro insurance or embedded insurance that we are selling. So once I purchase a ticket, I know I'm buying a ticket for maybe 130 Ghana cedis. But within that 130, maybe 10 cedis is going to pay premium for me.
For you.
So in the event of an accident, you are compensated.
Is that working? Is that going to be for the car or the people
it's for the people in the car. It's for people in the car. So you, the customer,
the car has its own insurance.
So the car has its own insurance.
Right.
That if anything happens to the car, they can claim. But these are policies designed for accidental. So if an accident happens, there could be injuries. There could even be death.
Yeah.
So these are for the passengers on board. Yes.
Okay.
These are for the passengers on board.
All right. So, but where do you see the biggest untapped opportunity in the market right now? Is it young people? Is it SMEs, agriculture, and all of that?
Yes, agricultural insurance. You know, I get people calling me for agricultural insurance, and sometimes, but luckily enough, now we have the Ghana Agricultural Insurance Pool, the GAIP, and some of the insurance companies too have started insuring agri products. Okay. So livestock, animals, and those things. Understand? So that is one area that we need to tap into. One other area is the informal sector, like I've been saying. The markets, we need to go there. We need to educate them. We need to go into the rural communities, educate them, these farmers, because somebody can farm and then there's flooding and everything is gone. All their little investments, and some of these farmers go for loans. So we need to educate them, go into the rural areas, educate the people, and bring all of them on board. Yes.
So agriculture, but don't you see any gap when it comes to young people?
Well, the Gen Zs. You see, yes. So
young people are the only Gen Zs.
Yes. There's a gap, and you see that also comes to the fact that people are unemployed. You understand? So a young man who is not employed, insurance will not be his priority. You understand? Because his first focus is to get a job. Yeah. And then once he gets a job, then he can think of insurance. Yes. So that's why I said the government too has to do their part. Once jobs are created and people are getting meaningful employment and are getting paid, then they also come in. Because of course, if people are employed and they buy cars, they will insure the cars. They're able to build homes or construct homes. They will insure these homes and other things. So you see, the economy then comes in there. Yeah. Once the economy is good and livelihoods are better, people are getting good incomes. Boom! It helps the insurance. Right. Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, we have just about 5 minutes to go. If you have any message, kindly send them to us now. 0544321019, 0544321019. Send me a WhatsApp and I'll read your messages. So if you have questions, comments, feel free to send them within the next few minutes. My guest, Edward Kwajo Owusu, will help us. He's a chartered insurance professional, and he will help us and answer some of your questions. So feel free to send them to me. You can also call me on the same number, 0544321019, 0544321019, or you can also call 030395661, 030395661. Call us, and then we give you the opportunity to actually ask your questions this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. So feel free to drop a comment there as well, and we'll read your messages. We'll read your comments for you right here. So as we try to wrap up, I know one of the things that we really have to do to be able to move from the 1% penetration to like you were saying, 3 to 5% and all of that, is a mindset.
Exactly.
What kind of mindset shift do you think we need as a Ghanaian people to be able to embrace insurance?
I think we need we should see insurance. Ghanaians and all of us should see insurance as a tool that is there to help
Okay.
in the event of a loss. You understand? We shouldn't have this perception that okay, insurance people are just there to benefit or to just take our monies, and we should see insurance as a a tool
Right.
that is to help us in the event of a loss. You understand?
Okay.
People should see insurance as an investment. Let me put it that way. We should see insurance as an investment because we do investment and we expect returns.
Right.
The same way we should see insurance as an investment. So the monies you are paying for your premium, you should see it as an investment for your future. So in the event that a loss happens, you are back to where you were, and then your life can continue. So I think people should see insurance as an investment. Yes.
But how do we also move from insurance as a luxury? Because some people think it's for the rich.
Yeah.
So, Charlie, if you have everything moving for you, then that's when you go and do insurance. So how do we move from insurance as a luxury to insurance as a necessity or as essential? How do we move from that?
So we need to do more of education.
Okay.
Because people have these perceptions out there. But once people are educated, once people are enlightened, then that shift will come. And then we also need to focus more on the micro insurance products, where we target more of the informal sector.
Okay.
Because you see, word of mouth also helps. So once I go into the market and I explain something to the market man, he goes home, he talks to her husband, he talks to her siblings, and then the news is spreading.
Right.
Yes, so we need to focus more on the micro insurance so people get to know that we all belong to it, and insurance is for all of us and not just for a selected few. Yes.
But when should someone realistically start thinking about insurance? Is it when they start earning good money or?
Oh, no. Once you see, every day we are faced with risk. Even we sitting here, we are faced with risk.
Yeah.
So once risk is there, insurance should be one of the top things on your list.
So there's no particular stage in life.
No.
To.
We are all exposed to risk. You understand? That's how come people even take educational policies for their young children.
Okay.
Because as a guardian or a parent, you can even die, or you can have an accident, you are permanently incapacitated.
Right.
But once you have the insurance, that can take over and then take care of your children. So insurance, you shouldn't say I want to get rich before I buy insurance, or you shouldn't say me I'm too poor to buy insurance. Insurance is for everybody.
Okay.
Insurance is for everybody. And once we are faced with risk, because you sit in a car every day, that's a risk. You sleep, that's a risk. Anything can happen. So once we are faced with risk as humans, then insurance should be part of us.
Right.
Insurance should be part of us. Yes.
So for someone who is listening to us who has never had any insurance, where do they start from? Let's just give some brief.
Yes. So if you're out there, you don't have any insurance policy, because there are different policies out there. We have life policies, we have the general policies. What I'll ask that you can walk into any insurance company, or you can search online for brokers.
Okay.
There are a lot of brokers. There are over 100 brokers out there. You can search for brokers, contact them. They can educate you more. Or you can walk into any insurance company, ask questions, ask for information. They will educate you, and then. And then I'm even here. You can also contact me. You can also contact me. I don't know if I can put my number out there. That's advertisement.
Okay. Well, you don't worry. You can.
So you can also contact me on 0271 065871. 0271 065871, and then we can talk about any insurance needs that you have.
Right. But what are some of the red flags that people should look out for when they are going for any of these insurance?
So the example I gave, you meet somebody and immediately the person wants you to sign, put in your signature, enter your account number without even reading the policy document. That's a red flag.
Right.
Because you don't know what you are signing. You understand? So if you meet somebody and the person is asking you to sign on, ask the person to explain the policies to you.
Okay.
Ask questions. If you can even request for the policy document before you purchase, read through it. What you don't understand, ask. If there's a clause that you don't understand, ask. If there's a condition you don't understand, ask. Make sure that you are clear before. Okay. But don't let anybody rush you into buying an insurance policy. Make sure that what you are buying, you know what you are buying, you understand what you are buying, and then you are good to go. Yes.
All right. So, everyone, in closing, so what should governments do? I know we've given those information. Pockets of those information already. So, finally, what should government do to be able to move us from 1% to say 3 to 5%, like you mentioned, maybe in the next few years. What should the insurance do? The insurance companies, the industry, really, and what should you call them something? The people that are going to insure the customers. What should they also do?
Yeah.
Yes. So these three groups of people.
Okay. So I think what government can do is to create an enabling environment for all Ghanaians by way of creating jobs, employment for people. So that because if people are employed and they have incomes, they'll purchase insurance. Education too. Government maybe through NCC can go into rural areas. Government have offices in all the regions or in all the districts. So government also through the district assemblies can educate insurance, or we can even add insurance as a subject to our curriculum for people to be trained right from the primary level, so that once they grow, it's part of them.
Okay.
Insurance companies need to do more by way of education. We need to place adverts in language that people understand.
Right.
We need to structure our policy terms in such a way that people read it and they understand it. We should do away with more of the technicalities and make it more practical, where people can understand. We should train more of our agents, train our brokers. We should do this workshop for people to understand. And then when it comes to the insurers too, what I'll say is that if you don't understand anything, please ask. Seek clarification. Don't just say I'm purchasing insurance, so that in the event of a claim, you will not be found wanting. Ask questions. Read the policy documents that are given to you. If you don't understand anything, ask your broker, ask your agent, ask who your relationship officer is, and I believe once that is explained, all of us will be on the same page, and everybody will be happy. The penetration rate will definitely go up. Yes.
Edward, thank you very much for coming. I'm really grateful that you made time to join us this morning. Thanks for sharing your insights.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Do enjoy the rest of your day. All right. So that was Edward Kwejo Owusu. He is a chartered insurance professional, and he joined us this morning talking about the 1% penetration of insurance. Of insurance in this country. Yes, according to Deloitte, in a latest report, that is the state of affairs. We have just 1% penetration rate, and that's a problem that we all need to be concerned about. And I said in my business brief early on that there are so many risks around us. Everybody is at risk of something, and so it's very important that we have this conversation, just so that you can know what to do and how we can improve that particular situation in this country. So that's how we wrap up today. If you miss any part of this conversation, feel free to visit our social media platforms. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. We're also on Instagram and X at ZFMGH. Feel free to visit those platforms and play back. But that's how we wrap up today. My name is Nitrebi Hammond. We're back again tomorrow for some more interesting conversations. Until then, please take care of yourself. And when you think Ghana, think Zed. Up next is The Brighter Side with Jeremy Okoria Mako. Bye-bye.